Where do I even begin?
Were you skeptical to date someone that was on parole, had a DHS case, and had a past addiction problem?
So do I like all the toppings on my pizza is what we're saying.
I want to say, thank you. Thank you for, being patient with me. And I know that we have rough times, but I really appreciate everything you do, and I love you very much.
Because again, people that are abusive, they will remove any support systems for people. Limit or eliminate contact with friends, with family, with ways to get around. They will intentionally take out every car is in their name, everything is in the place. Well, it's mine, you can't have it. This is your car.
Hey, so what's going on tonight?
Vehicle stolen.
Okay, how long?
I don't know where it's at right now. You want me to get my hooker?
So I thought I would just vlog every day until racism treatment. Day one. Well, it's 8 months and day one.
See, he told me that he was so upset because he was supposed to have him from 11 to 7, and you guys were both going to come to his house and stay there from 11 to 7 with his kids.
My kids are fine. My kids are fine. I'm fine.
I have no notes. There was no warning given to me about this caller at all.
This is emotional abuse.
I want it back. Address? It's Jason Forrester.
Who's Jason Forrester?
A friend that just got out of prison for 10 years.
Her friend?
Transporting drugs.
Okay.
He said back to the house. I bet you're smoking drugs over there for my kids. I feel like a video got posted that shouldn't have got posted. I know it's bad and I won't defend it, but
she is. She's just looking all alone and hateful. She's got nobody to support her. She's got her own fucking, You're right. But she did that herself. I didn't fucking do that.
It could be long guns, could be pistols and everything pointed at the vehicle.
But he continuously, uses you guys to harass me and, keep me up all hours of the night because he is drunk and mad. So, I don't really know what to tell you.
that's a shot fired right there. I was like, that is, okay. Those videos were made after you moved out.
And you were still trying to take the Jeep and still actively using and doing things to hurt me. And I felt as though, if I didn't speak out, it just wouldn't have stopped. And I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to be arrested. I just want it to stop. Stop.
You don't want it, do you?
You're not gonna fucking threaten to hit me and back me to a fucking corner. Reese, stop!
He grabbed me, bear hugged me. And he was trying to grab my face to open the phone with my face, Face ID. I don't know if it's registered him or anything.
Are you Miss Jessica? I'm with DCFS.
It never works out for the right side. You understand what I mean? It never works out for the person who's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, that's not mine. I don't have a registered handgun to me, so.
That's not yours?
No.
There is no forced entry to this house. I hate to say this, but it's almost like we're probably going to have to chalk this up.
I sincerely believe with everything in me that this is one of the most important things I've ever done on this app. Throughout this year, I have lost sight of why I started this in the first place, and that is to help other people by sharing my story. And over the years, that has come at a very expensive price when it comes to my mental health.
Kids, I'm trying to be nice.
So right now you don't know that she's not in the Jeep.
I know she's not in the Jeep.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, Jess. If you want out forced entry right now in front of these guys, they got to come in here and get me and they'll arrest both of us. I'll take one for the team. I'll take one for the fucking team, buddy.
Is that the one she posted?
Yeah, so I think that she's...
Because I don't know where she got that from, because I know for a fact the judge denied it.
Hey, I was about to pull up at Jessica's, but I wanted to call you beforehand. Later.
Hi. How you doing? Sorry for bothering you. Are you Jessica?
Hi, are you Jessica?
I am not.
Is Jessica home?
She is not.
I am simply showing the facts to the things that she has claimed over all of these years. Jessica herself said it. She accepts the challenge. Go digging. Paperwork is king. So that's what I did, and that's what I am doing to prove just who Jessica Kent is. And it's time for all of it to be revealed. Every receipt.
Many other tweakers. So the house was full of people doing drugs. Of course I relapsed. I mean, there were drugs all around me.
You're gonna pass the drug test. What did she say? Once she passes the drug test, she's gonna close it.
What's wrong? I'm just
I'm like shaking because I'm scared that like if I tell my story and I put it all out there like we want to, like it's just gonna be worse, you know?
We can talk about how we're gonna start this one, did we?
I think the intro is like the hardest thing. So
okay.
I'll just say that to them because they get it.
Yeah.
Hi, what's up? How y'all doing? That's probably not it.
No, it's not it either.
This docuseries is for the Ride or Die crew. You guys deserve transparency. You guys deserve an advocate and a voice and a content creator that has your best interest at heart, that is not dedicated to spewing more hate and negativity into the world. You deserve a true advocate, and I lost sight in that throughout this year. I lost sight of why I do what I do. What's up, you guys? So I know that the intro to this was very intense. Episode 1 is going to be paperwork, and I'm going to go over, that's a lot of things. I'm not really sure how I'm going to break up everything in the series, because in my personal opinion, I think that the paperwork is the least important. So I didn't really want to showcase it in episode 1, but I know that that is kind of what the internet has been talking about the most, and that's why I'm going to feature it in episode 1. So I want the docuseries to highlight parasocial relationships and how that deeply affects the content creator. I want to share how victims of domestic violence are either not believed, not taken seriously, or even when they are believed, the system still fails to protect them. Because I had the privilege and the muscle to leave. What happens to the women that don't have that? What happens to them? I want to highlight cancel culture. I want to highlight mental health, substance use disorder, and all of the things tangled in between. I want to talk about narcissistic abuse and smear campaigns and just how evil those situations are. I want to talk about family court and how that is a shit show. I want to talk about all of it, but I want to do it not just from my point of view. I am not perfect, nor have I been perfect in this situation, nor have I been perfect in the past 18 months. I've made mistakes along the way. I have been toxic at times and ungrateful and defensive. I've been petty, I've been mean. Explaining the situation and what has happened and what has caused me to react that way is not making excuses for my behavior, because reactive abuse is a very real thing. However, that does not excuse what I have done throughout the year, and you guys will see that all documented. Again, not from just my point of view. There's no excuse for all the times that I was shitty or toxic or ungrateful or defensive or mean. There's no excuse for it, but there is a scientific and psychological reason for it. But I just want to be clear that doesn't make it okay, and I just really hope that my message is received and you guys go into this docuseries with the idea that my intention is only to share all of those hard topics that I just mentioned, to show all sides, from body cam footage to drama channels, constructive criticism, and intentional and unintentional victim blaming. Hey guys, so I have to jump in here and just say that I have no idea how to organize episode 1, and that has been the delay. I have so much footage, and there have been so many times where I've sat down to film and I just can't. And that is what you're gonna see in the next clip. I try to sit down and film the intro to episode 1, and I just kind of have a panic attack and call Megan, my editor, and I just say, I can't get past the fucking intro. So the direction that I would like to go is just to show that, just the raw files, you know? So this first episode is going to include my paperwork at the end of the video. So this is going to be the layout. I'm going to show you the intro that I had a panic attack in because I think it's really important. It's embarrassing. I'm an ugly crier, but you guys are gonna see a lot of raw files like this where I'm just talking, you know, or I'm just reacting to some crappy ass video made about me and I'm like, oh my God, just fight me, ho. This is just as real as it gets. That's what I want it to be. I want it to be raw files, not overly edited, vlog style docu-series. And I'm cringing every step of the way. It is really hard for me to put together like this because I've never done anything like this. I always edit my videos so people don't really see me crying that much, or, you know, I kind of shield and protect myself the best that I can, but all those walls are coming down in this docu-series. Please let me be very clear. My goal is not to paint my ex as a monster and me as an angel. I am no angel. My goal is to shed light on all of these hard topics while using my story to do so. I love you guys. This is episode 1 of my docuseries, and I never in a million years thought that I would be making this kind of content. I sincerely believe with everything in me that this is one of the most important things I've ever done on this app. Throughout this year, I have lost sight of why I started this in the first place, and that is to help other people by sharing my story. And over the years, that has come at a very expensive price when it comes to my mental health. And every step of the way, I have tried my absolute best to battle it and be strong and put on a brave face. But please know, every time I posted a difficult video, it took everything out of me. For 3 years consistently, I got up every single day and I filmed every single day. I would post 3 full-length videos on this channel, Jessica Kent, which is the main channel. I would post 2 videos a week on my vlog channel, Jessica Kent Vlogs. And I would post Patreon videos and TikToks and Instagrams, and I gave it my everything. Every single thing I had to give, I gave. I never in a million years thought I would be in a position to have to feel the need to defend my own life story. But I do feel the need to not only defend my story and my reputation and my authenticity and my transparency, I also feel a great responsibility to, once again, be very vulnerable. Fuck. Fuck. God, I'm shaking. Fuck. Oh my God. God damn it.
Hello?
Girl, I can't even get past the intro.
What's wrong?
I'm just like, I'm like shaking because I'm scared that like, if I tell my story and I put it all out there like we want to, like it's just gonna be worse, you know?
I understand. I understand. It's your choice if you want to put it out there. Don't do it because you feel pressured to do it.
No, I want to, like I feel pressured to share my paperwork, which is stupid. But like, I know that this can help so many people because we have proof they fucked this whole thing up and the cops were just fucking, they were like, well, that's the law, what are you gonna do, you know? Oh my God.
Yeah, they don't give a shit about civil. It's not even civil. Like, the way that he's manipulating them is not civil.
And like, they know it too. They know what he's doing and they're like, well, we have to, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, but at one point they say like they talk about how he's not, like, he doesn't listen to them.
Fuck, I didn't even watch it all.
But you don't have to do this until you're ready either. Like, just because you have a good story doesn't mean you have to put it out now. Like, I support you either way.
But you know, like, I think like I've just been like depressed all year and the drama channels keep like leaking things, you know, and it was just, I just felt like I was late to it, they jumped on it, and then I'm like, I have to defend, you know?
That's exactly what you should say, too. Like, that's exactly what you should say.
Oh my God.
Because you're human and you had to deal with all this bullshit, and then what really frustrates me is that they don't understand how it keeps adding to the trauma, and then they want to blame you for being a victim when, like, you are clearly a victim in this. Like, everything you're doing is adding to it, and they want to get mad at you for it.
I hate that word.
Everybody's a victim at some point, though. Like, it's you don't have to stay there, but
yeah. I just got really scared all of a sudden. I don't even know why. Like, I started to think about like adding clips in, and I just got really scared all of a sudden and just called you.
Yeah. Well, I think that, you know, it has to be your choice. And if you're not feeling comfortable, then I would take a break. But also just be real. If you film it and you don't like it, scrap it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If I don't push myself to do this right now, I'm never going to do it.
I understand that. I understand that completely. And I also think that it feels like a lot, but we have to go into it for this is for your subscribers. This is for the people that need to hear this. This is for the women that are in those relationships that are being silenced by people that, like, I don't even think half the people are, I see, like, two sides. I see, like, the people that are very victim-blaming and very mean about it, and then there's people that are victim-blaming but not realizing it. They're like, she should just keep it off of social media.
Oh my God,
silence the victim, right? Like, that's not right.
Right, and like, that's so fucking true. Like, some people just straight up don't fucking realize what they're doing. And I can see that, I can feel that when they're filming these videos.
So if you make this video, you know that you're opening yourself back up to more commentary.
Yeah. But if it helps someone, and it can help fucking start this conversation and show how badly not only society treats victims of domestic violence, but how law enforcement treats them, then it's a win, and I'll take the criticism. I'll post it and delete all the apps from my phone.
I think at this point, you know, like, doing this video, you'll have said your piece, and then that'll be that. You won't have to respond to anybody anymore.
Yeah, and if I keep myself busy with just moving forward with the docuseries, it'll be the last thing on my mind. I just won't have time for it.
I agree.
Okay, well, let me sit back down and try to get through the intro without having a panic attack.
But I think that's also, like, the things that you said about the drama channels, about everyone leaking your stuff before you even got to, that definitely has to be in there.
Yeah.
Like, how you weren't ready to talk about this stuff and it was all taken from you. So now everything that you're doing feels like a response or, like, you know what I mean? You don't even get the chance to say your life on your terms. And Mindy's whole thing has been to get more attention on her. But, like, her way of doing it has been shit-talking you. It hasn't been putting her story out there about her recovery or her journey. It's been literally you the whole time. And then she gets mad when you respond to her for being obnoxious.
Yeah. And, you know, people are like, well, Jess, you started this. Okay, in front of the camera, sure, because she was posting indirect little fucking threats to me while her and Reese are, like, fucking and fucking partying and threatening me and harassing me and fucking talking so much shit to me.
Yeah, he doesn't care. It's so obvious, and Mindy's spinning that whole narrative of, like, if you can't see this timeline, I don't see what, like, yeah, if you can't see from my side of it, now that I have all this evidence, like, about how she got there the day after Reese pulled all this shit about you, like, calling the cops on you, and then the CPS thing, and then Mindy was there. It's like, it's all so perfectly timed.
Yeah, I think she came here working for Reese.
Yeah, I would probably say yes. That sounds, because there's no way that that story, like, fit together so perfectly. There's just no way.
Yeah. It was definitely, like, calculated, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of their texts from when she first got here was planned. They were all fake.
Yeah. She is willing to go to any length to get her narrative out there the way that she wants it. I think Mindy was a pawn of Reese's the entire time. Not everybody deserves your help, and that's a hard thing for me to also learn.
It's
not
so
everybody
hard.
is, like, I want to assume the best in everyone, but not everybody is deserving of it.
It is so fucking hard to say no to.
Because especially when you've been in that spot, when you've been so low, and, like, you know what it's like to be denied the help when you actually needed it, but having the intentions of taking the help and then doing something to improve your life, or taking the help because you're trying to manipulate people, like, that's two totally different things.
It really is, though. Okay, let me sit back down. I got this. It's totally fine. I just had a little mini panic attack. Take the meds, Jess. Just take the meds.
Right. I understand that. I understand. I hate it too. I hate taking my medication, but I take it every day.
Like, let's try not to have panic attacks.
You got it.
Okay.
If you film it and you don't feel comfortable, like if we edit it and you get to this point where you don't want to do it, that's okay. This is your story. Tell it how you want to tell it.
All right. Hopefully I'll send you a file tonight.
Good luck.
All right, bye.
All right.
Oh shit, this is recording this whole time. Oh my god, and the battery's halfway dead. Okay, of course it is. Shit.
I wish they made these a little bit bigger than they did.
Your questions.
Well, these are more for interviews versus interrogations. Like, if we have somebody who really think did something, we're probably not in here. We're in one of the back rooms. This is just for convenience of people coming in.
Super scary. So, we were gonna have dinner, and everything was kind of okay. He has been increasingly paranoid. So he has PTSD, and I've always known that, but if I touch my phone or I do something that looks weird on my phone, or I pick something up and put it down, he's aggressive. But we went upstairs, and I was...
Aggressive how? What does he do?
Sometimes he thinks that I'm trying to mirror his phone, like on my phone. But I don't work for the CIA, I'm just on Instagram. Or sometimes he'll think that I'm recording him. And I have recorded conversations, which is like, red flag number one, if you think you're going through like a toxic or abusive relationship, if you have to record the conversations just so you don't sound crazy. So it's things like that. Or if I like mute notifications, he'll think that I'm deleting something. So we're having dinner and we decided to go upstairs, and I was in bed and I was basically naked, and he was in the bathroom, and I had my phone on the bedside table. He comes out of the bathroom, and I don't know what I did to set him off, but he comes out of the bathroom and my phone is just on the bedside table. All I have on is underwear. He picks me up and takes me into the bathroom, and he puts me on the bathroom counter, and he said passcode. Like he wanted the passcode on my phone. And almost as soon as he like put me down on the counter and said passcode, he grabbed my neck and like slammed my head against the wall, and he choked me like really hard, and I started crying, and I said, can I just please get my clothes? Can I just please put my clothes on? Just please let me put my clothes on. And I'm basically like not fetal, but I'm basically like this on the counter. And he kept me there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so. And finally, like it hit me once I calmed down. I'm like, just give him the passcode so you can get out of this bathroom. So I gave him the passcode, and he's going through my phone, and finally he let me get up and get dressed. So I got dressed and I ran downstairs, and I have a couple of like Ring living room camera videos, but it's not, I don't know if it's enough evidence. But I run downstairs and I'm trying to get all of my stuff, because at that time, 2 weeks ago, I was staying in the hotel. So I'm going to get all my stuff and my daughter's squishmallows and all of the stuff to get out of the house. He went in my bag and he took my keys and he wouldn't let me leave. And then like a switch flipped or something, and he's like, I just want to go with the girls. I just want to go with the girls, because they were with the sitter. I just want the girls. He's like, of course we're going to see the girls. Of course we're going to see the girls. And I'm like, am I losing my mind? So I'm like, just give me my keys so I can go. Well, he wouldn't let me leave by myself. So we get in the car, and he's just driving around, and like all these weird side roads, and the hotel is like 5 minutes. It's my place hotel. And you've been to our house, so it's so close.
Yeah.
I'm like, please just take me to the girls. Please just take me back to the girls. And he's like, why are you so upset? Just calm down. And it was so different from what he was 20 minutes prior.
Yeah, Jekyll and Hyde, yeah.
It was just crazy. So I'm like hyperventilating basically, because I'm like, where are you taking me? And I was, really scared. And he has my phone at that point too. So he has my phone, he has the car keys. He takes me to the hotel, and I asked him not to go in and just let me go, just call an Uber. He's like, well, all I have is shorts on. You have to call me Uber. I don't have my phone. So he used that to like get inside, and we go upstairs to the room. The babysitter and the girls are playing Monopoly, and they've got toys and stuff everywhere. And I tried so hard to just stay as calm as I could, so they didn't know that anything was wrong. And I called an Uber for him, and he left. Okay. So that was just like one incident.
And you said he had you in the bathroom for like 30 minutes. How did that 30 minutes transpire? Was it 30 minutes of him blocking you and 30 minutes of him holding you? How did it?
So he's standing in front of me, and I'm on the counter like this, and he had his hand off of me pretty quick. Like once he like grabbed me and like slammed my head against something and choked me, that was probably, felt like forever, but it probably realistically was only like 30 seconds of that. And then he's just like he's large, he's just standing in front of me, and every time I tried to like get off the counter, he would just kind of just push me back and tell me that I wasn't getting up. But he was whispering, passcode, just give me a passcode. And I'm like, why are you fucking whispering? And then he made like these little comments about like torturing me, I'm assuming, because he said I usually start with the toes. So I'm like trying to not lose my whole mind. I'm trying to like calm myself down, and it took me probably 30 minutes to even think, like, just give him the passcode, you know, because I'm just crying, like, please just let me put my clothes on, please just let me get dressed, please let me get dressed. And that was like the focus of my mind, instead of just give him whatever he wants so that I can leave. So.
And I know this is going to require some speculation. When he grabbed your neck and shoved you backwards and then choked you, do you think it was his intent to choke you, or is he using the force of his hand? And regardless of his intent, did he take breath away from you or blood flow? Did you experience any symptoms of depression?
I believe his intent was to choke me.
Okay.
I don't know if his intent was to kill me or make me pass out, but it was definitely to scare me.
Okay.
So when he pushed me and had my throat, for a second, like a split second, I just thought he was gonna let go. Okay. And he didn't for what felt like forever. And I looked at him, I was like looking at his eyes, and he just had the craziest look on his face, and I couldn't breathe. Okay. And I started to panic, and finally he let go, but I couldn't breathe. I don't know how long.
Okay. And when did this happen?
Yeah, what date? Like, tried my best to keep like a record of all of it. I also have a statement from my place and video footage or screenshots of their security system when he tried to get into my room at like 2 a.m. He was very aggressive with the staff.
Do you know, were we called when he went to my place?
No, they asked if I wanted them to call you guys and if I wanted to have him like banned from the property. I told him no. On a couple of different occasions I told him no, and then finally the manager, he was so great, you know, he was like, it's not really just about you at this point, I have to make sure my staff is safe.
Right.
So he told me that like if he came on the property he'd be asked to leave. But then one of the other front desk girls saw us going in together because he wanted me to check out of the hotel. And he asked her, am I allowed on the property? Are you gonna call the cops? And she was like, what? No, it's okay. She's okay, everything's okay. So then he's like, you lied to me about them wanting me off the property. Like, it makes me like even crazier because I've tried to talk to him about it. And he'll either just completely shut it down or say that I'm making it up, and I'm gonna fight with him over phantom things. Okay, yeah, so it was November 19th.
Okay. And you said you have other cameras in your house, but it doesn't show much. Does it show anything as far as any other odd behaviors or aggressive behaviors or anything like that?
Not from that night, but I do have like him being really aggressive with me and like doing the same kind of thing, choking me and putting me up against the wall, but it wasn't like it was on the 19th.
Okay.
I didn't like lose my breath. I was just more startled than anything.
Okay.
But this is the video of. So I run downstairs. He follows me. Sound goes out for a minute.
I was going to ask if he's still whispering or if it's just...
And there's another moment of time. He's like trying to like comfort me. But like a second before he's like...
Do you remember what he was saying?
I think he said like, you know what you did, or something like that. But I was just so like inconsolable and frantic.
Is there something that you did he was upset about?
He thought I was doing something on my phone.
Okay.
Like I swipe to block notifications, or not block notifications, but I do like this a lot, where like I'll go like this to like silence or unsilence chat. And he thought that I was like deleting it, but I'd have to hit two different things. So I tried to show him that about 10 minutes before he got crazy. But when I was in bed and my phone was on the bedside table, I don't know what he thought I was doing. He just came out of the bathroom and I wasn't even touching my phone.
Okay. How often does he act this way about you and your phone use? Because you said you do social media stuff, right?
Right.
So I imagine you're probably pretty active on your phone.
Yeah.
Is this an all the time thing that he's suspicious of it, or was this kind of an odd occurrence?
It's been pretty bad over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
But, I've been with him since 2013. He didn't care. He didn't care how much I was on my phone.
Right.
He's drinking really heavily and using drugs, I think, out there. I don't physically see him doing that, so I have no proof. But it's just this year. It's been really bad, but the past few months have been...
And it was roughly, 2 months ago when I saw you?
Mm-hmm.
How have things been since then?
That happened on my day.
Right.
He has been hacking all of my accounts and just doing all kinds of crazy things. But I bought a house.
Okay.
So I'm still getting the last few things out of his house. But things haven't been better. That's kind of why I'm here, because there's no end in sight in my mind.
Right. And the children you have are kids in common, or at least younger ones?
Riley, the 6-year-old, is biologically his, and our oldest is not.
Right. Because the oldest is the one when you were in prison, right? Okay. So from here, I'll kind of lay out just a bunch of different options. Throw a whole bunch of stuff out and we'll work through it. For domestics, let's say you wanted him unequivocally charged with domestic battery. What we would need to do, or maybe even strangulation under domestic battery, which makes it a felony, we would need to talk to him, because there's always two sides to a story. Not to discount yours, but to prove something in court. To arrest somebody, and you may have noticed from previous, probable cause. Probable cause is a far lower evidential standard to arrest somebody. But to get a conviction in court, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, is a much higher standard. So with felonies, that would require the authorization of the Kane County State's Attorney's Office. So getting your statement, getting a statement from him, in this case, unless there's additional video that you haven't shown me, if there's no video of what happened, what he says happened would really hold a huge part of that, because we're so far after the fact, there's no bruisings or marks this far out. They may be reluctant to charge a felony this far after the fact without any corroborating evidence.
We do have other evidence.
Okay. Or sometimes we can get them to admit through a conversation. Yeah, I know, but I wasn't trying to choke her. I put my hand in a holder still to talk to her. But now you're admitting you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. So there are ways you can still get that without evidence, but it depends on what that person says. So that's at the high end of what we could do from a criminal side of things. Walking that back, and additionally, you have 3 years to charge most felonies in the state of Illinois. There's a few exceptions that are longer. So within 3 years of an incident, you can be charged for it. Beyond that, the statute of limitations kicks in where you can't. It's 1 year for misdemeanors. So a regular domestic battery that doesn't have aggravating factors such as strangulation, weapons, severe injury, those are misdemeanors. So you would have 1 year to charge those. Taking another step down from the criminal stuff, I believe we talked about this last time, is you could always do an order of protection. I don't sign them. I would never want to predict with any certainty what a judge will say for orders of protection. I would imagine, based on what you've told me in videos that you have, you would probably be able to get an order of protection. The benefit of an order of protection would be, it would give you time, if that house is listed as a protected address, to get all of your stuff out without him being there causing any problems. Orders of protection can be very, very specific and precise in what's in them. They can be more open-ended. They really are catered to the need of whoever's applying for it. That's called a petitioner. So you'd be petitioning for it, you would get it, he'd be receiving it, he's the respondent. So in that order of protection, you could have the house listed, the address, as a protected place where he can't go to it. My place, if you're going to be back and forth at all, it could be listed. You could have, if you needed to, him to not call you or text you or do anything. Again, you can make them really restrictive or really open-ended depending on what you need to get done. The initial order of protection is called an emergency order of protection. They are generally, prior to COVID, about 2 weeks in duration. I don't know what's court backlogs, if they're any longer or not. But then what happens is you go in, you have a hearing, you sit down and a judge hears, all right, where are things at now? Has everybody calmed down? Are things okay? Do I need to extend this? Or does this just expire? And at that point, if you have moved out, you're in a new house, you may or may not need to keep it. Maybe you do if you're concerned about further abusive behaviors. And the nice thing about an order of protection is the law is pretty specific on what people can and can't do to be violating the law, criminal law. Civil law is a little more open-ended, and with constitutional rights and freedom of speech and stuff like that, there's a lot of things you're allowed to say. But in domestic violence situations, they've identified that harassing and menacing behavior is not okay. It's part of the cycle of abuse. So if an order of protection needed to stay in place for a longer period of time, it's called interim or plenary, they could do that if it meant he's not allowed to do certain things. Maybe he's not allowed to contact you. Maybe he is allowed to contact you, but he's only allowed to contact you about stuff pertaining to your biological children, your child. Again, you can have whatever parameters are appropriate for what you need. If you still live together, I've seen some where they can't abuse alcohol or drugs. Again, they can really be catered to your needs. I think ultimately, based on what you had told me last time, and now this time, and it's easy for me to say I'm not the one in the relationship, is I would try to find, whether it's through mutual ground, our social worker here, some kind of counseling services to help you manage and navigate this. And ultimately, if somebody is treating you in this way, gaslighting and other stuff, it's not what you need. But Jekyll and Hyde, I'm sure he can be an amazingly charming, great guy. It's just then you see the other side of this. If you were this way all the time, you wouldn't be with him, because why would you be with something like that? But the other side is this other guy that's just...
That's what's so hard. Like, he had 8 years in recovery. I had 10. And it just, everything fell apart this year. So he was not this person the whole time. I would never think that he would do any of the things he's done this year. And because of my experience in addiction and the people that I work with and help through my platforms and nonprofit and stuff, I thought I could fix it. I could put it back together.
Right.
But I can't. So.
Do you have more videos from your house that are noteworthy, or other incidents or anything that you want to have documented?
Stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Right?
Stop. I'm like, everyone thinks that I'm fucking horrible. You fucking win. You win. Please don't. Our kids are upstairs, please.
Are they?
Please.
Are they? We're back to the corner now.
Okay, you win.
Where you at? Huh?
Please don't hit the wall. Please don't hit me.
Do you have that? Where's that aggression before? Where is it?
That's not aggressive.
Where is it? You had your hands on me. Where was it? Where is it?
You were so aggressive and so angry before. Where is it?
Because you're screaming in my face.
Where is it?
Stop, please, please, please don't. Please.
Where is it?
Stop. You're drunk. Stop, please.
Where is it?
You're just drunk.
Huh?
Stop.
Huh? Where is it?
Stop.
Where is it?
I was mad because you're having a hackers hack my fucking account.
You know you did. Did you
I
not?
asked
Did
you
you
to call.
do it?
Did
You say it.
what?
You say it.
Did I say what? Something. What did I do? What did I do? Don't. Just, you're drunk. It's a fucking Saturday. Please stop. Please don't fucking. Snap. What the fuck?
What do you say about girls?
No, he's not about to cross a line I'd rather not cross.
Oh, okay.
Out of it. Snap the fuck out of it, please. Please don't. Please don't. Please. Please don't. Please.
Stand the fuck up. Stand up and take it. Stand up and take it. That boss bitch you want to be. Stand up and take it. Stand up and take it. That's the boss bitch you want to be. Stand up. Exactly. That's what I thought.
So like when he grabbed my neck, he didn't hold it that long. Like I could still breathe. So in the bathroom 2 weeks ago, I thought he was gonna do the same thing, and I was shocked that he didn't let go for as long as he held me there.
And this was October 1st? Okay. Do you know what he was talking about that he wanted?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe my phone or something. I don't know. But there were several times where I would think it would be okay. He'd be coming out of the things. There was one incident that I checked out of the hotel. And I was going to stay for the weekend, and I was supposed to close that Monday on the house. And as soon as I got in the shower, he took my laptop and took my keys. And then for 24 hours tried to make me feel like I was crazy that, doesn't have it, he would never have it. It's in your possession. It's always been in your possession. You have your stuff. It's not my fault you lost your stuff. And then finally, and I checked my car. It was locked. Like that night. But then the next morning around like noon, I was like thinking back to what he said. He's like, it's in your possession. So I'm like, I wonder if he put it back in the Jeep, like put my laptop there. So I ran outside, and of course it's in the passenger, on the floor in the passenger seat, and it's unlocked. Like I don't remember that it was locked, and there was nothing right there when I looked the night before.
Right.
So I grabbed the laptop and I went inside, and he started laughing at me because I found it and I'm crazy. And then like an hour or so later, he finally gave me one of my Jeep keys, keeping the spare. And he came up into our room, handed it to me, and he said, I just wanted you to hate me so you'd leave. And then he walks out, and I'm like, well, now I can go because now I have the car. And I didn't want to scare the kids or like argue with him about it, or I didn't want them to hear that I didn't have a car to leave. And if we get in an Uber, then they're going to be like, why don't we just take the car? So I kind of just chilled that night, and I didn't want them to know that I basically was just stuck without a car, which he's done several times. So
when you record like that one, is he aware that you're recording or unaware that you're recording?
I really thought he was going to know.
Okay.
He knows I have it. I sent it to him.
Okay.
But in that moment, I think he was so drunk that he wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
But I did tell him that I showed him the video, and I sent it to him, and I think a few days after that, I'm like, we need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And he said, we were arguing, we were both mad, we're both, toxic with each other, we're both do this, and I told him, like, that's removing all accountability from you being a 250-pound man, backing me into a corner, and right. No. Let's say that, like, women can't beat up men. But
no, but there's a degree of, let's pretend, not worst case scenario, because I'm not going to give you a weapon. Let's pretend you guys were arguing prior to that, and you're upset, and you're hitting his chest and pounding on him and screaming at him. And finally he gets to the point that he's had enough, and that's his response. that's still not okay. If you did those things prior to that, that's not okay. But that response is still not okay. You can't do that. So looking at it through that lens where that behavior is justified because of blank, that still doesn't make that right. Like you said, he's a very large person. It's not okay. That's never okay, regardless of whatever you did. That's not right.
I'm pretty sure he has videos of me, just mad and like hitting something off the counter or like kicking the trash can, and I'm just so frustrated.
Right.
And the craziness is like, it just feels like he'll just pick and pick and pick and pick and pick, and then when I snap and I'm mad, he'll look at you, starting this to me, and that makes me even crazier.
Right.
And I'm from the hood though, so like there's always going to be that in there where I'm going to try to stand up for myself, and then it goes right back to me being broken and me like hiding in the bathroom or me crying in the corner. But I have those moments where I'm like, you're not gonna fucking do this.
Right.
I'm not gonna just sit here and fucking cry and beg you not to do this. Fuck that.
Right.
So I know he has videos of me just really mad and like throwing things or screaming or crying or whatever. But it is all like a response to just how awful he's been.
Yeah. To poor behavior. That's what I was going to say about the drywall. That's actually a really good example of let's pretend you get upset and swipe everything off the counter because you've just had enough, and that emotion inside you, if you reach a pressure valve, and you're going to let it out, and that's how it comes out. Some people say that's not okay. I say, hey, sometimes you got to let it out. If he gets really upset with you and he goes into another room and punches a wall because he's releasing that energy, most people say that's not okay. But that is different than having you squared and punching the wall next to you. That's really putting that physical action in very close proximity to you that's very threatening.
Yeah.
That is not okay. And that is covered by the Illinois Domestic Violence Act. Some would even say that even going off to another room to do it is also under that. But again, we all get points that we're just overwhelmed and unable to manage this negative emotion, and it spills out.
I think like 2 months ago when you came to the house, he was very adamant about staying in the basement, being separated while I packed my stuff. That changed. That changed probably a month or so ago, where he was at all times while I was there from my hours packing and getting everything out or working. During that time, he was always in a common area, the living room, the kitchen, and he would never like leave me to just do anything. And it switched to where I was like, hey, let's talk, or hey, I'm here, can I do this, or can I take this, or whatever. Me still trying to like work things out with him, or going downstairs in his room, or have like a TikTok backdrop on there. It switched from that, where he's like, she just won't leave me alone, she just won't respect my space and all this stuff, to him being very aggressive and assertive with, I'm going to sit here the whole time. I'm going to be right here and not give you a second of peace. And I don't know why. I really don't know what that switch was, but.
So that would also then lead me to believe some of the behavior we're seeing may or may not be the benefit of having too much to drink. But if he's doing these other things of watching you in the house and being around you, I'm guessing he's not drunk every minute of the day. So his behaviors aren't always simply because of intoxication.
Right.
He's acting poorly even when he's sober.
That's the thing, like I don't know if he's sober. I mean, I've seen him drink Tito's at 9 a.m. or have a beer at 9 a.m. and I don't know if he's sleeping, because I'm not there. So I don't know if he is using or drinking all the time.
Got it, okay. Yeah, because if you are a functioning alcoholic, you could be just drinking all the time. Okay. Where are your thoughts on things? Do you want him criminally charged? Do you want space so you can get out and get away? Where are you at?
Just kind of wanted to at least document it and have a report.
Okay. I would say, the one thing I would need to look into, and sorry to interrupt you, is So Illinois, being a two-party consent state, means you can't record somebody surreptitiously without their consent. They need to consent to it. There is an exception to that, buried way at the bottom. I believe that I think your recording of him may fall under, where that would be protected. If that is true, and if that were protected, that's very condemning evidence of these behaviors. That could be enough to get a criminal charge against him that would stick. But we would need to make sure that that does fit in the eavesdropping loophole and would be okay. So if it doesn't, then we couldn't admit it to court, we couldn't use it. But I have to double check. Again, I think that would meet the criteria of the exception to the eavesdropping law.
So anything that is like not a naturally assumed privacy, so like the Ring living room camera, that could be used?
Because he knows it's there, yes.
It's not like a bathroom or a bedroom.
Correct. If you know you're being recorded, like so even in your house, if he comes around the corner, he's upset and you're recording. Like, I'm recording. If he continues to engage you, you've told him he's being recorded. There's no secret recording going on. If you just kind of have a feeling it's coming and you hit record and you put the phone down and he doesn't know, if it's just a regular argument, that could be under the eavesdropping statute, which is a class 4 felony. But the provision I'm talking about, I believe the wording has to do with not just somebody committing a crime, but like where somebody's in imminent danger of being harmed. I don't remember the exact wording, but in your case, I would say that's a perfectly reasonable concern that he could hurt you based on that behavior. So that's where it gets hard. To go beyond that public area, stuff like that, you don't have as much of an expectation of privacy, but the example I give people is, say you sit down on a park bench to have a conversation with somebody, that's protected. Somebody with a boom mic or one of those, not a boom mic, but the ones that pick up from really far away, that's not okay. But if you guys got into a screaming match in the middle of a park and somebody starts recording it, you have no expectation of privacy if you're yelling right out in front of everybody. But to get back to this stuff, that is exactly the kind of stuff that I think would be necessary to get an arrest and a conviction. That's only if that's what you want. I would say at the very, very least, you need space and you need to get out. You need to not just protect yourself physically. You have a lot of emotional recovery to do. The stress of going through this, even when you're not having blow-up fights, the amount of stress that you've endured, both consciously and probably subconsciously, you've gone through a lot. And it's going to take a while to unpack that and kind of work that out.
We had to buy a house. It's just, I want the space. I left. He didn't make that decision. I did. But he came to the hotel like 10 times, 12 times, even made sure to get the connecting room next door and put the camera in my room. And like, I don't have any guarantee that he's not just going to show up.
Orders of protection. And again, I think based on history of alcohol and drug abuse, history of verbal for sure, and alleged physical domestic violence, unauthorized video recording, just this kind of domineering, possessive behavior. Again, I can't speak for a judge. I would say that this would for sure qualify for that emergency order protection, and probably a longer term one, because it'd be reasonable to think these behaviors aren't going to go away after a couple of weeks because a judge said knock it off. You need to ensure that you have this protection for a longer period of time. And with orders of protection, the rules in them, they're called remedies. Some of the rules are police enforced, some of them are court enforced. So for instance, if you have a protected address, he shows up to it, you call the police, we can arrest him. If you have a provision in there that the only conversation that you guys can have be about child care things, and he calls you to talk about something else, that's typically court enforced, where then we report it and they say you're defying the judge's order.
And so I get it to where like he can't come to the house, or like pick up the kids from school.
The kids can be protected parties, addresses can be protected, phone numbers can be protected. It can protect you against third-party contacts, where you can't be calling somebody else to relay messages to you. Again, these can be really restrictive or a little open-ended.
I would be happy with just he can't come to the house, can't pick up the kids from school, but if he wants to call and say goodnight or send voice memos or whatever to say goodnight to them, like that's okay, but I don't want him anywhere near the kids without 30 days sober and kind of some kind of therapy or treatment. And these are boundaries that I've tried to enforce for a long time. Like 30 days sober, treatment, employed, and you know.
Those are things that can also start entering into the equation for both in order of protection and if down the road, because if I remember correctly, you guys were never married, correct? Okay. So if he wanted to have visitation, he would first have to establish paternity with the court. It automatically defaults to you because you're mom. You have to show, yes, here I am, I'm dad. Here's proving that this is my child. Once he establishes paternity, then his parental rights kick in, where he can start asking for visitation and/or parts of custody. But that also means child support and other things that go along with that. Some guys want nothing to do with that, so they never do. And if that were the case, it's up to you how involved he can be in your child's life. Because again, end goal, yes, in a perfect world, we want mom, we want dad, we want everybody involved. If you're healthy. If you're not healthy, you're just going to damage kids. That could be another way that could motivate him to clean things up. I don't know how strong his fatherly bond is. I don't know what he's...
He loves the girls, he does. And I don't want to keep him from them, but he has to be sober.
But that's what I mean, yeah.
And employed, doing something healthy and not, you know.
And that's what I meant. So him being unhealthy, it's not good to be around kids because you're going to damage kids too. And that can be very long-term damage. So the order of protection, and then potentially down the road, any visitation stuff he wants to formally establish to the court, can have provisions like that. I mean, I've seen plenty of visitation orders where the mother or father can't drink alcohol during visitation, or they're only supervised visiting. They typically, if they have to be restrictive, they'll try to start giving a longer leash. If it doesn't work, they'll reel it back in.
I had to get my daughter out of foster care when I came home. So, I mean, I did classes and hair follicle drug testing and supervises. Yes. I mean, I went through the ringer.
Right.
So, yeah, I would love for us to be able to be two grown adults and work that out ourselves, right. But it just doesn't look like that's ever going to happen.
But the other thing in going through this now, you know, one, and based on what you've talked about, I'm sure you know this stuff. Addiction and pharmacology, people don't understand how it affects the brain and how people live for whatever the substance is. Kids can be a great motivator to get and stay clean.
Or they can be collateral damage.
Right. Or sometimes it's still not enough, you know. But whatever motivates you to stay on the clean path, it's good. From what you said, it sounds like he's got PTSD, he's got substance, he's got a lot of stuff to fix before he's better.
I guess so. Let's the process of the protection order. Do we like write a report of everything that I've said?
Yep. So I'm going to do a report regardless. I'm going to cover the incident in the bathroom, the recording. These are all different criminal offenses. I will give you the report number. You can take that to the King County Judicial Center, the number. A lot of times you don't even need the actual report. They have you fill out, I don't know if it's officially an affidavit or just a statement of facts. And be, without writing War and Peace, be as thorough as you can to demonstrate this isn't a one-time thing, and it's not one issue. It's not, oh, he gets drunk and he gets a little scary. No, he gets physical, he's verbally abusive, he's gaslighting, that shows he's emotionally abusive. He's putting you under surveillance by both checking you at the hotel and asking people to look for plates and physically putting a recording device in your room.
No, he's tracking my Jeep too, like on the Jeep app, because it's in his name.
Okay.
So that's happening, and he's hacking all of my accounts.
Yeah. Another thing you could have written in the order of protection, that he is not to alter or change any shared electronic media. I was also going to say that I would start out with a list of the things that are very important for you to have control over, and then secondary things he may have control over that are less important, and whatever you can do to, one, change the login and password, and three, in addition, add two-factor authentication to any of that stuff.
So this is the issue, and I'm glad I have like screenshots of everything. He went in and he is doing this stuff where he's changing, actually that's just him, that's his phone number.
Okay.
That's my email. The code is being sent to Jed Klein. But I had another screenshot basically saying that. That's his phone number logging into my account. I know that I had another one somewhere of like, it literally says, this is your recovery, and it is not you. It is him. I'm locked out now. But I caught it last night because he sent me like a screenshot of like a conversation that I had, and I'm like, that's my email.
Okay.
So I went into it and I changed the password really quickly, and I tried to get that off of the account, and it sent a code anyway. Maybe I was just doing it too fast, but I'm locked out of it now. That is what my public Facebook is connected to.
Okay. Are you able to change? My Facebook's so old I have an EDU. That's back when they required it to be an EDU. Are you able to change email on Facebook, or is it locked in?
I don't know.
I would contact Instagram, whoever you need to, if it's set up in a way that's going to alert him in any manner and explain, I'm a victim of domestic abuse. My abuser has, he set all of these up as the recovery information. I have police reports. I have things I can share with you. This is my livelihood. I need to get this back, and see what they can do. And even if they need to call me or email me directly to confirm your concerns, because I can say, with again a reasonable level of certainty, his everyday email address probably isn't Jessica Kent. It's probably yours. So I would tell somebody that's not. I've spoken with her, and that's. I don't know how difficult they make that. I would think they'd almost have to have some kind of safeguard in place for businesses or people where this kind of goes sideways. And again, if this ties into contractual obligations or simply could be cutting into your income because your time, instead of being spent creating content, is now being spent cleaning things up, and it's...
I mean, it's been like this for months. He's cost me a lot of money. So, police report, order of protection, what do I need to do?
Side thing that just occurred to me. Do you still have access to your social media accounts?
I haven't checked this morning. I dropped the kids off in King Street yet, but I'll check.
Did something additional happen last night or recently that's...
I got the balls to come here, but last night he was hacking all of this stuff and saying that I have a Skype account or a Samsung account, and just all day, he was just all day bothering me with it. And I just decided, like, I'm done doing this. I'm done lying for you or protecting you, and I'm done being, like, fucked with every single day. And I also found out, a mutual friend told me, not yesterday, the day before, that he went to the hotel several times, between, like, midnight and 2 a.m. or something to see if I had someone else there with me, and that the Jeep is being tracked, which I kind of knew because, what day is it? Wednesday? I want to say like Sunday or Monday. I just moved, no, Saturday, I'm sorry. Saturday, I had a rental because he had the Jeep keys for like a week and a half, so that cost me a ton of money. But I went to move the rental out of the garage because he brought me back the Jeep. I was upset that I didn't, thank him for saving my life, for bringing me my own car back. But I just moved the Jeep out of the driveway and moved the rental out of the garage, parked the Jeep on the street, and immediately he called me like 13 times, and I'm like, that's weird. That's really weird. He goes, where are you going? I'm like, oh my God.
What I will do from here is I'll get you a report number. I will look into the provision of the eavesdropping statute to make sure that video could be used. If that video can be used, we can discuss whether or not you want to go ahead with criminal charges, or if you want to document it and just have it there so it's on file in case there's more problems. I do recommend anytime there's issues you make reports, because those paper trails will bolster orders of protection, child custody agreements, all those things down the road.
Yeah.
Especially with child custody. If the first time they hear about an allegation is at the custody hearings, they'll be like, are you making this up just because you don't want them to have visitation, or is there substance to this? And unfortunately, because these play out the way they do, a lot of times, no, the abusive behavior has been going on for a long period of time. And maybe the person's just trying to get through it because they want it to work. They don't want to make things, quote, worse by doing this other stuff. But then it comes back to bite them because it's never been documented. It's a difficult spot to be in.
I want him to be healthy and a father, and I want him to be in the girls' lives. I'm not trying to take the kids.
Right.
I just had to take the kids.
No. Even if there's no kids, you would be completely justified, like you've seen the video. And that's not okay. It's not okay for him to do that. It doesn't matter what you did. You didn't do anything wrong. Or if you did something wrong, because I know I make mistakes. Not as many as my wife would tell you I make, but I make mistakes. But his reaction to that's not okay, regardless of what you did. So in seeing through the right lens, you are the victim in this. He would be the one to paint a very different picture that is not an accurate picture. You're not doing anything wrong. He is the one doing things that are
like harsh words, like victim. Like that's not ever what I thought I would be.
No, well, again, the legal terminology is victim. I would say bigger picture. If we're going to label things, you'd be labeled as a survivor based on everything that you've been through and where you're at now. So to be victimized doesn't define who you are. It just means legal terminology, what you've been subjected to. Be a beaten record. A lot of these guys, like if you hear anything about, and I'm certainly not saying this is him because I don't know him well enough to know, but you hear about narcissists. Things with narcissists is part of them can be really great, and that's what draws them in. A lot of them have like overwhelming charisma and stuff like that, but it's the dark underside is far different and far more damaging.
But like it literally, I know all of this stuff, right? It literally has me thinking, like, am I the narcissist? Am I the toxic one? Because like I'm taking on, like he's brought out a lot of my trauma that I worked really hard to heal. Right. A lot of the stuff that, my anger issues and my own like insecurities or abandonment issues. I worked really hard to repair that, and it just feels like he's just slowly like undone all of that, and I keep asking myself, like, wait, am I the narcissist?
Right.
Am I crazy? Am I the toxic person?
No, I can say pretty confidently you're not. I'm not going to say that there may be behaviors or personality traits you have that you still want to fix. We all do. But nothing you're explaining to me here makes it sound like there's something you could or should be doing better or different in terms of the relationship.
I've definitely been toxic this year, but
people don't do these things in a loving, healthy relationship. You don't do things to diminish, to menace, to torment your partner. It's not okay. It's, and again, and you can find a lot of it where the abuser makes the other person think things are their fault. It's how they're programmed to do it, And it's not this really easy situation because people will look from the outside and go, oh, well, just get out of the relationship. Or why'd they even get in there in the first place? If it were that easy, it wouldn't happen. That's not how these things work.
right now it's very much, she just needs to leave you alone. Why is she so crazy? Like, just, don't talk to her. Like, it's very much everyone thinking he's just this great, nice guy. And
or again, poke, and keep poking you. And then when you blow up, why are you overreacting? And just that whole stuff.
Yeah. I have taken his keys before on several occasions because he's been really drunk, which I will fight a stranger in public and call them an Uber, like, just give me your keys.
Right.
I'm crazy about it. He totaled a truck, his last truck in July.
You told me that in 88, yeah.
So I'm like, please just don't drive. You want to leave. Just call an Uber, please. So, there's been plenty of times where I've taken his keys and his keys, and then he turns that into, I'm not taking your stuff, just like you're not taking my stuff, right? Like, you were like falling down drunk. You've been drinking all day. It's midnight, you've been drinking since 9 a.m. Like, I would rather him be nasty or aggressive or crazy with me than drive and hurt someone else, hurt himself.
Right. Taking keys in that scenario would be perfectly reasonable, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good example of times where somebody may leave that detail out. Well, she takes my keys when I was... Well, yeah, because you're hammered and I don't want you hurting yourself or somebody else. They leave that very important part of it out. But again, where it can be problematic from a prosecution standpoint, after the fact without evidence, if we were to talk to him and go, no, that's not. She had flipped out that day. I was holding her on the bathroom counter because she's lost her mind, and I'm just trying to get her to calm down, and I'm holding her there because I don't want her to hurt herself or do something stupid. Officer, I would never hurt her. I was just trying to get her to calm down. And even though I can say I believe your story, based on what the legal system requires, proving that yours is right over his is the hard part. Videos like that one you have carries a ton of weight to say maybe your side is the one we should be listening to here. Again, even if you had done things before that let's say you did get him really pissed off that day for whatever reason, he can't act that way. No. Are you currently seeing anybody, a psychologist, social worker?
I need to find a person outside of the last, because we were in couples counseling, and I needed a new person. I really liked her too, but R.I.P. It's just my word against his, though. Then this is all for nothing other than the order of protection.
No. Again, if you didn't have that video of him backing you into a corner, you begging him to stop, and he's not, then this would be very, very hard to charge in court. Because it's the old he said versus she said thing. And again, the problem we have as police, there are times that I think we know when we really believe somebody, but the way the system is set up, you have to have compelling evidence.
I mean, that's what makes me crazy, because he's gonna know I came here, and then if I don't even get the order of protection, or somehow he just gets out of it, then I'm just that bitch that called the cops or went to the cops, and I don't want to make him more mad or make the situation more complicated, or that's why it's taking me so long to bring him in.
But I also think that gets back to why mutual ground or anybody that understands the cycle of abuse would see this and shake their head and go, no, you're playing right into the web that he's created, because he wants to minimize or diminish your allegations and make you feel bad about them. He wants you in situations where you will be penalized for doing what's right. So no, right now, if you want, I can take a report and we could wait until you're more situated at your house and like, you know what he did is wrong and I want him arrested. Then we would contact the state's attorney's office to see about criminal charges. Or at that point you could go, I got out, I wasn't hurt. F him for all that he did to me, but I've got my space now, I've got my babies, I'm good. It's really entirely up to you. There's a lot of layers to this onion. It's not just one thing.
So we'll just, take an order of protection, see if that helps anything get better.
Mm-hmm.
It should.
It should, but if he's drunk and doesn't follow it, if he gets to be a problem, it's documented. That way, after a few weeks, when it goes to the next step, you can show hey judge, he's still defying these orders, this is how this works. Let me grab your report number. I'll give you a few minutes to think about things and if you have more questions or want how to handle things differently.
I just want the protection order for now, and then hopefully, that is enough for him to be like, okay, let me just stop being crazy. Or, I don't know, get sober. That would be the easiest solution.
Am I remembering correctly, you said he doesn't have guns?
He does not.
Okay.
I don't think so. So I'm a felon. I can't have them.
Right.
So we've never had them.
Okay.
But I haven't been there in a while. So to the best of my knowledge, I don't think he does.
Okay. So the Illinois FOID card act, or the firearm owner's identification card, I believe he might have to relinquish that if he's under an order of protection. And there are even times that we go remove guns from a house. But if he doesn't have any, and I should also add, one of the other reasons why, in my opinion, it's good you've taken the steps that you have, and I think I told you that day, good for you. So many women don't start working towards their own independence to get away from this stuff because it's so easy just to be stuck with nowhere to go. Hotels, I'm sure, weren't cheap nor convenient when you've got 2 kids. And now getting a house, now getting away from this. If you weren't doing those things, I would be imploring and maybe even going around you and saying, no, we're going to charge this guy. He has to be arrested, because if you still lived under the same roof with him, that's a problem.
Right.
You're still with the abuser.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gaining distance, I think it does give you a little more leeway in what option you want to pick.
Well, that's good. That's good news. I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to be arrested. I just want it to stop.
You want him to get treatment. Does he have friends or family or anybody that gets through to him, or no?
His friends, very much doing what he's doing right now, because that's usually how it works. His family's great. His mom and his aunt have like their black belt in Al-Anon. That's what we say. So they're, decades into the program, and they're amazing. But they can't stop him. I first met him, he only had 6 months sober or so, and I saw a completely different person than I'm seeing right now. Mm-hmm. And I severely underestimated what they had gone through with him for so long and what his ex-wife went through. His longest relationship was like a year. I'm like 9 years deep because my intolerance is really high. But there's no one that can really, persuade him or get through to him or even connect with him. He's very distant with people. So, no, but I wish his family, could get through to him. But they're very much like, when he's ready, he's ready. It'll all work out. And I'm like, how do you get that much peace? How are you that calm? They've gone through it for so long.
And they're also not caught in the storm like you are.
Yeah.
Very easy to say that from the outside.
they're not dealing with what you're dealing with on a daily basis.
So do you need anything else from me?
No, I'm going to run and get your report number. I'll be right back.
Katie, have you heard that they're trying to cancel Jessica Kent? I absolutely have. Jessica Kent is one of my best friends. I know her very well. I know everything that she's going through right now. We talk pretty much daily. Look, people have been trying to cancel Jess for a really long time. This is absolutely something completely different. This is abuse. This is kicking a woman while she's down. This is siding with a woman's abuser after he abused her in front of their own 2 daughters. And it's not a majority of people, it's a very small, very loud, very annoying minority. Look, a lot of you guys know that recovery is one of my absolute passions. It's the thing that I attribute anything that I have that's valuable to me in my life to right now. But there's a reason that I'm not part of recovery TikTok. Unfortunately, and it's definitely not everybody. Again, it's this loud minority of people that keep recovery TikTok completely and totally toxic and anti-productive and counterintuitive to anything that actually involves real spiritual recovery. You know what's absolutely wild to me is how much more supportive, kind, compassionate, and empathetic the people who are in prison TikTok are than the people who are in recovery TikTok. Which is crazy when you think about it, because everybody in recovery TikTok has the same goal, the same common enemy, and yet they keep bickering amongst each other and trying to pick each other's recoveries apart. It would be like a bunch of cancer patients who see one cancer patient getting better and doing really well, and they try to tell that person that their treatment is not valid. It just doesn't make a lick of sense to me. As for Jess, she's an amazing human being. She's an amazing mother. She's an amazing friend. And all of these people that are literally compounding the abuse and the trauma of her ex being abusive over the last couple of years while he's been in full-blown relapse. They're siding with him against her. What they're doing is really evil and it's cruel. And they're not just limiting this abuse to social media. They have called DCF on her repeatedly, and she has passed every single test with DCF with flying colors. While her ex, Reese, has called the police on her over and over and over again, knowing that she has trauma around the police. They keep showing up because he keeps calling, and they keep leaving because she's done nothing wrong. But he's facing several different charges for multiple cases in multiple states right now. That's who you guys are siding with? Really? Look, before me and my wife ever met, she was in an abusive marriage for 15 years, and the same stuff that Reese and the people that are siding with Reese are doing as case in point abuse, the same type of stuff that her abuser did to her. And it doesn't have to be physical to be abuse, although Reese absolutely has physically abused her in front of their children. And now a very small group of very small people have sided with him and have decided that they're gonna try to make her life miserable, and she's getting through it like a champ. This one's for you, sis. I'm proud of you. Keep going.
I think there are 2 separate sides of me being canceled right now, if that's what you want to call it. That's just what I've called it because I don't know what else to call it. I think there's one group of people that are very, very malicious and nasty and just straight up mean and intentionally moving to cause harm, moving maliciously.
This shows how dangerous and sick Jessica Kent really is. Then this week it hit me. The reason I'm so invested in Jessica's being exposed is because my abuser was able to abuse me for so many years unexposed, or so I thought. My abuser has never had any repercussions for the absolute torture he put me through.
You do owe us a genuine truth about the shit, the disgusting shit, by the way, that we've all seen here lately from you.
Apparently we are all abusing poor Jessica all over again. All abusing her, playing the fucking victim again, and gaslighting the shit out of you and everybody else to feel sorry for her. Nobody is siding with her abuser.
You left your husband, who was working a nice job making 6 figures, or your fiance, to be with a violent, methed out man, because you're the queen of them, remember? Like, are you kidding me? Because your name has power in the streets.
She's the one who puts her life on YouTube to make the life that she has today. Her following on YouTube is what pays for her life. It is our business now.
Then there's another group of people online who are just concerned, that have genuine questions.
I agree with the things that Reese was showcased doing on her channel, but I also think that there's 2 sides to every story, and I think it's really sad. It was devastating that one of the weakest moments in his life, where he wasn't in his right state of mind, she put that out there to the public and deemed him a monster, made him look like a monster. I'm not taking away from what she's been through. I'm just saying I don't agree with that. If she has the right to say all these things publicly, then Mindy, Reese, even Jason, all these people that are involved that did not give her approval to go and speak about these things, they have the right as well. She built her brand off of transparency, and I thought that she had been extremely transparent with us as an audience. And because of that, I did feel like I knew Jessica on a certain level. Of course, I don't know her, but I felt like I had a good idea who she was based off of her stories and experiences and her content.
But there's so much noise online and receipts and snapshots and text messages and all this stuff that paints a picture of, oh my God, she runs a trap house.
I just gotta say that I never thought that Jessica was running a quote-unquote trap house. In fact, I think that that is overly dramatic. But based off of the context of the text messages between her and Mindy, I do believe that Jessica allowed this Jason guy to disrespect her boundaries and rules, because there's no doubt in my mind he was doing things that, based off of her rules that she has set, he should not have been allowed to do within and around her vicinity. Yet when she made the choice to talk about this publicly, she didn't seem to have an issue in saying that Mindy had relapsed, and that is why she got kicked out of her home. However, we didn't hear anything about what Jason did, and to me, in my opinion, it came off as if she was trying to protect him in some way.
People are going to define sobriety the way that they're going to define sobriety, and that doesn't necessarily always align with me, you know? My definition of sobriety is abstinence. That doesn't mean that for other people that's necessarily the case, okay? And I will be honest with you, there was a point that I stopped watching her because, in all honesty, I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't support what I was seeing going on. I couldn't continue to endorse it, and it was too painful for me to watch. And in all honesty, it doesn't mean that I don't care about her. That doesn't mean that I don't have compassion for her. That means that I'm not going to engage her.
How much? I know, okay, Jessica's a liar, Jessica's this. Okay, then don't watch her. But like, to me, in my opinion, when does it become bullying? When does it become harassment? Now, I'm not talking about people that are reacting to her video. She makes a video. Or reacting, let's say I make a video and somebody reacts to how I feel. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about people that every day or every live stream that's 2 and 3 hours is Jessica can't, Jessica can't, Jessica can't, Jessica can't, Jessica can't. That's what I'm talking about. When you build your whole channel, that's what I'm talking about. When is enough enough?
I want to highlight parasocial relationships and how that deeply affects the creator, because that's really the only side of it that I know. I want to highlight just how hard it is to create content, right? Inside of that, I also want to highlight all of the content creators that have tried so hard to say, hey, I love my job and I'm fucking lucky to have it. And this is a blessing. This is a privilege to have a platform this size that pays my bills. But it's like 3 full-time jobs, and my mental health is one of those jobs, and this is actually really hard. And a lot of times that is met with some really nasty comments, and I understand that. That doesn't change the fact that we matter too, our mental health matters too, and this is actually really hard because this is not normal.
So first things first, as you can tell by the title of the video, currently, at this moment in my life, I am not exactly doing well. Shocking, I know, right? A YouTuber whose mental health is suffering. Big shock.
Well, that's the surprise of the century.
Disclaimer, I absolutely love my job. I asked for this job. This kind of thing is what I've dreamed of doing since I was a child. It's what I did as a child. So this isn't me complaining and being like, oh, this job is so hard, which I know people are going to accuse me of, but it is literally just about my personal inability to keep up with this, my inability to take a break, and my inability to create what I want to create.
Health, we're going through the ringer today, okay? We're going through it. And I am just gonna bear it all to the internet, because that's never been a problem before, has it? It's always gone really well for me.
The social media pressure is hard. There's a lot about this platform that people don't know. This is not an easy job, you know. It's extraordinarily labor intensive, and there are so many creators that end up having like major mental health crises and quitting.
Like, it's not normal to have just millions of people see your face and watch you and comment back, and like, it's incredible, it's surreal, it's hard, and throughout my whole journey online, I've always told you guys, I'm going to tell you what this is like. Well, slowly over time, I have felt like I've been just poked and picked at over time, slowly over time, to where it got to the point where I didn't feel safe to film. I didn't feel safe or comfortable to share my story online anymore. But even before that, like, I'm like, oh, what's the politically correct term for that? Oh, can I not wear a Jeffree Star shirt anymore? Do we hate him now? Like, I can't keep up with the shit. I paid $60 for this shirt. I really want to wear it. Where do we stand with that? Am I gonna get hate on that shirt? I'm not gonna throw away the makeup because, oh my God, that costs a fuck ton of money. So I guess I won't share it on camera since they're being canceled. What? So there's a lot of pressure when you're filming for social media, and yeah.
Hey, so what's going on tonight?
Vehicle stolen.
Okay, how long?
I know where it's at right now. You want me to get my hooker?
Yeah, so just kind of walk me through what's going on.
Alright.
So it sounds like she's had access to it in the past.
The Jeep is in my name, yes.
Okay.
So, and then here's the last location on it right here. She lives on
Okay. Do you know the address over there?
It's the first.
When was it taken?
Had it been after midnight at some point.
Today?
Yeah. Here. That's when it alerted me. That was the address it was at.
Okay, it's not there anymore though.
No, it's the one I just showed you. It's the most recent.
So she's probably on her way back home.
I don't think we have 2 girls at home. She's supposed to be staying. I don't think she's fucking left the girls. See what I'm saying?
Okay, so you don't think she has the car right now either?
I do not.
Okay, have you been in contact with her?
She sent an email earlier today. I mean, I talk to the girls every night, but yeah.
Okay. So kind of walk me through what's going on, because it sounds like our dispatch put some notes on there that said she's had access to the vehicle
She had access to the vehicle because she moved out. I bought it for her when we lived together, yeah.
Okay, when did she move out?
It'd probably be, she's still got stuff here, so she's not totally out. Maybe less than a month ago.
Okay.
Totally out.
Okay, so she was out less than a month ago?
Obviously, you know.
And then that's when she was able to take the vehicle with her at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I don't know who she's got hanging out with her. I said, I don't make that dumb business, you know what I mean? I said, but one of the deals was you can keep the Jeep as long as you're taking what it's supposed to be. Sure. To kids, I'm trying to be nice.
Mm-hmm. So right now you don't know that she's not in the Jeep. So
I know she's not in the Jeep.
How do you know that?
Well, because the house would ping. Like if she, like her code leaves, like it's called like a my home, like a smart home. So the car can leave, but somebody would, like if she left, the kids
So would
left.
it be a good? So we could send her over to the address to try to talk to her to see if she lent the vehicle to someone, to see if she's actually using it.
Possibly, but what if I want to take possession of it anyway? Because if I feel like
if it's in, do you know the license plate of the vehicle?
Gosh, Jeep. Let me see here. Tell me. It's registered to me, so I don't know for certain. Oh, if I get the Progressive insurance, I can.
Yeah. What's your first name?
Reese.
What's your last name? Do you have a middle initial?
No, I do not.
No. And what's your birthday? And you live here, right? And a good phone number for you. Okay.
I'll get the Progressive insurance card, digital, and get the plate number on it.
Yeah, and if the plate's not right, I can grab the VIN from it, so.
Okay. Let me use your ID here. Do this thing over and over.
What is her name?
Jessica.
Do you know her birthday? Okay, and you said she's staying in. Is that a house or an apartment?
I think it's a house.
It's a house, okay.
Alright, let's give me a passcode so we'll get you here. I just knew something like this was going to happen. I went by Riverfront is where I bought it earlier today.
Okay.
Kind of talking about potentially trading it in and everything else, and like you should. So.
Okay. What time? I guess I'll let you do that first. Or do you remember about what time you got the first notice that it was?
Well, it went off. It like the snapshot I showed you. So what was that? Which is really odd, to be honest with you, because I have a boundary alert on it too. That went off at 1 a.m. today.
1 a.m. today?
Yeah. And what's really weird is, you know, I've got a setting on this thing where if you go to...
And that was alerted in...
Sir, yeah. And then, I said I have a boundary on it, so I know if it leaves, it's set around her current house, you know, so nobody... So you know it's gone if it's not in your Roku.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 1 a.m. alerted to...
Alright.
Okay, so at this point you just want the Jeep back here now?
Yeah.
She's kind of...
Yeah, if I can. I mean, I don't know what they're doing with it, so I don't care. It was supposed to be taking care of the girls, and if it's doing this, I want it back. I'll take it to the dealer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Let me go see what I can find. I'll be right back up with you, okay?
No worries.
What's that?
It's Jason. I looked at that, but where he was at, address.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jason Forrester lives there.
Who's Jason Forrester?
A friend that just got out of prison for 10 years.
Her friend?
for transporting drugs. So
Okay.
if he's headed back to the house, I bet you there's fucking drugs over there for my kids.
Okay.
Shit.
Okay. So that's where, what was, you said it was Jason Forrester? And that's, her friend then?
Yeah, that's the address he stays at.
Okay. Does she have any sort of relationship with him that you know of, or?
Yeah. I mean, she knew him from 10 plus years ago. So
No, you can just put it on the ticket.
he just got out.
Okay.
He just got out of prison like less than a year ago.
Okay. And then do you have any more updated pings? I know you said you had the one in a
It's getting pretty close to the address now.
to the. Okay.
It's coming back down from his house. It's not good.
Okay. All right. Let me see. We'll see. So
I
what
had
you're
a police
looking?
report on them too with you guys for breaking into my house. I put it online.
Was that on Christmas?
Yeah, like right before.
Okay.
It's been there for a while, but it's followed up with me.
Let me. So what you're looking? You just want the Jeep back tonight,
Yeah, I want the Jeep, and I don't want there any fucking drugs in my house with kids.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, it's her house, but I mean, she can't do that shit.
Right. Right. So the main thing tonight, we'll try to get the Jeep back to you then.
I do have a key.
Do you have her phone number?
It's 4. I can't tell. She's called from both.
Okay. You said. All right. If you want, you can just go ahead and hang out inside. I'll try to start working on my end, see if we can get that going on.
If there happens to be problems over there, like will CPS show up, or will you guys call me?
There'd be.
Yeah, but I'm saying like kids are there and stuff. Like if it becomes.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't want them to call CPS.
No, I don't think if you have visitation, right?
No, we weren't married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We were together for 8 years. Our kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they legally your kids or no?
Probably legally. There's probably a gap.
Okay.
You know, I mean, the youngest one has my last name.
Okay.
But I mean,
are you their blood-related father?
Riley, I am the youngest one.
Okay.
I would rather. So if he goes there, I just want somebody to call me. Don't call CPS first.
Okay. Let me see what's going on with the Jeep first, and then we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want, you can hang out inside, because I'm just going to make some phone calls and stuff right now. Is this Judd that I'm speaking with? Reese?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just let you know I am still wearing my body camera. So they went over to the address and they didn't see the vehicle there. Would you like me to try and give Jessica a call?
So there's no vehicle, nobody answered, nothing?
I don't know if they attempted to contact. Does she usually park it in the driveway or in the
garage?
In the garage? Yeah, that's what okay, let me have them go back over there and see if they can make contact with anyone.
If my app, I mean, if the app still says it's there and they say it's not, that means somebody's pulled with the GPS. You have to do that and have to get their call.
Does your app say it is there now?
Hang on, look up to get back on it. Right now it says it's parked at.
Okay. Let me give you a call back after I have them run back over there and try to talk to her. So essentially what you're just looking for is to have the vehicle returned to you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me give them a call back, okay?
Yep.
All right, bye. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, okay? And I understand that it's frustrating that you've paid for it for as long as you have.
Documented proof of him saying that I can use the vehicle, I'm on the insurance. This is, a continued thing where he said, this is, yours. You can use it whenever you want to as long as you make the payments. And in the morning, I will get an order of protection and, I will go through that whole process. But he continuously, uses you guys to harass me and, keep me up all hours of the night because he is drunk and mad. So I don't really know what to tell you.
I'm not entering it right now because I want to talk to my supervisor in the morning, just because this isn't a typical someone breaks a window, steals a car. You've had permission up until, I'm assuming up until tonight when he called us. And now it sounds like you don't want to return it, and I don't know that you necessarily have the means to do so at 2:45 in the morning, especially with kids and everything there. I just want to let you know, it sounds like the officers were out there talking with you too. I just want to let you know that if this vehicle does get entered as stolen and you're in possession of it, that's a felony. And what could happen is a lot of times with stolen vehicles, and this is kind of where I'm concerned, is if the vehicle is used to transport children, and that's primarily what it's being used for, and then it comes in as stolen, the officers aren't going to know everything that's going on, and it's just going to show them as a stolen vehicle. And then the procedure with that typically is having long guns, pistols, and everything pointed at the vehicle because it's a stolen vehicle. Okay. I'm not going to be able to enter it tonight because I want to verify with the supervisor first. Just because this does, essentially what this means is that it should be. Yeah, so either way, it'll be stolen throughout the entire United States.
I'm just saying if I called you, I want to. I'm sure.
So the thing is, it'll be done, right? And I'll fill all that stuff out. So it would be, just because if she's driving kids around and stuff, if it's a stolen vehicle, typically the procedure with that is it could be long guns, it could be pistols and everything pointed at the vehicle, because it would be a stolen vehicle. Okay. That's why I want to verify with my supervisor, just because it was supposed to be used for the transportation of children, so I want to make sure that.
I mean, we know that wasn't from this movie.
Right,
so,
it would be right there.
So you're going to fill that out?
So I'm going to fill that out, talk to my supervisor in the morning, and then I'll have someone give you a call, either myself or another officer, to let you know that it was entered, and then
what do I do for you trying to get it back? I mean,
right, and then
I'm not going to go over there because that's bad.
Right, and that would be, it would essentially just be waiting until the police recovered it. And then somehow arranging a pickup, whether that would be towed to a tow yard and then you pick it up after that, or
so the dealership are there. I'll just tow it there. The dealership.
And that's always a possibility too. But like I said, I'm going to talk with my supervisor just to make sure that, because there's a couple different ways it could be entered too. It could be just straight stolen, it could be taken without permission, and that's kind of why it's like a gray area, whereas she did have permission. Now that permission's been revoked, so now it's kind of just falling under possibly, I'm looking at it as possibly a stolen vehicle because she's refusing to return it.
Yeah, because permission to drive it at 1 o'clock in the morning for somebody that's doing drugs is probably not permission.
So that's kind of where we're at right now. And I work tomorrow night at 6 again.
So I'm going to pick up, but nobody's going to talk to me in the morning, follow up, or?
No, like I said, after it'll be either myself or another officer, or I'll have, see if he would be able to give you a call too, the supervisor, depending on what he says.
Alright.
He's in at 6 a.m.
Okay, the supervisor?
Yes.
Alright.
Should be in at 6 a.m.
I'll try to follow up because I know my phone is going to just blow up. She's just going to call it to do that.
Possible. And I'm gonna call her too and try to see if she'd be. Is that the only vehicle she has?
As far as I know. Okay. I think he has a vehicle, but yeah.
Sure. Okay. And that also might be another one of the issues is getting the vehicle here, because then I don't know how she would get back home.
Okay.
So, like I said, I'm gonna.
She can ride or call an Uber. I'll pay for an Uber back.
Okay.
And who do I talk to? I guess in the morning about the police report I filed and them coming in. I mean, I have footage of it.
I'm not sure. I don't know who's. You could talk to the supervisor as well about that.
What's his name? You have my phone number, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you text me? Yeah, the officer.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know who was handling that or where that is in investigations. It might be.
That was a week before Christmas. I put that in.
Okay, I'm not sure.
I know.
So, I'm gonna get on the phone with her, see what she says, see if I can convince her. Would you be willing to maybe set up a time to meet to get the vehicle back?
No, I don't want to be anywhere near when I take that vehicle back.
Okay.
I'd rather it just be set aside and I can get it or I can tow it.
Okay. All right.
I'll do either.
Okay. That'll work. I will talk to her then and see what she says, okay? And then hopefully someone will reach out to you in the morning, okay? All right, have a good night, okay?
This is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica. Just to let you know, everything is being recorded right now. I have my body cam on, okay? So I was out here. I was talking with Judd. It sounds like he was kind of where we're at. Is what he explained to me is that he let you use the vehicle because of the children and everything, and he wants that vehicle back now. And looking at what I have in front of me, it looks like he's the sole owner of that vehicle. It doesn't look like it's like a co-signed thing.
It is not a co-sign thing. So I recently got out of this relationship with him. He is physically violent and emotionally violent. So this is mutual shared property that I've paid for an entire year, and he cannot take the Jeep back at 2 o'clock in the morning because he's drunk and doesn't like me.
Right, and so I definitely understand where you're coming from, okay? And I understand that it's frustrating that you've paid for it for as long as you have.
I have documented proof of him saying that I can use the vehicle, I'm on the insurance. This is, a continued thing where he said, this is, yours. You can use it whenever you want to as long as you make the payments. And in the morning, I will get an order of protection and, I will go through that whole process. But he continuously, uses you guys to harass me and, keep me up all hours of the night because he is drunk and mad. So I don't really know what to tell you.
So again, like I said, I get where you're frustrated, and I totally understand how you can be frustrated in this situation. I'm just going by what I have in front of me. The Jeep, according to what I have in front of me, is his. I know you said you've paid on it, and he's given you permission to use it before, and everything like that. So that would be.
Before. No, not before. So the ownership of property is a civil matter, correct?
Correct. Until he wants his property back, and then that person refuses to return it, it can become criminal at that point. So that's why what I was getting at is, I know you've been paying on it, and you paying on it could be a civil issue if he's given you permission to pay on it and you've been paying on it. That would be civil at that point. But if he wants it back, and it's in his name, and then if you refuse to return it, it could be entered as a stolen vehicle. I'm not entering it right now because I want to talk to my supervisor in the morning, just because this isn't a typical someone breaks a window, steals a car. You've had permission up until, I'm assuming up until tonight when he called us. And now it sounds like you don't want to return it, and I don't know that you necessarily have the means to do so at 2:45 in the morning, especially with kids and everything there. I just want to let you know, it sounds like the officers were out there talking with you too. I just want to let you know that if this vehicle does get entered as stolen and you're in possession of it, that's a felony, and what could happen is, a lot of times with stolen vehicles, and this is kind of where I'm concerned, is if the vehicle is used to transport children, and that's primarily what it's being used for, and then it comes in as stolen, the officers aren't going to know everything that's going on, and it's just going to show them as a stolen vehicle. And then the procedure with that typically is having long guns, pistols, and everything pointed at the vehicle because it's a stolen vehicle. Okay.
Okay. Well, I've already filed a police report because of his domestic violence and his stalking and all of this. So he is tracking me on the Jeep. He has threatened to bring guns from Arkansas to Illinois, and he is very out of his mind on drugs and alcohol. And
Jessica, I understand that, and I know that there have been a lot of different reports going on here. Okay. However, tonight this is only about the Jeep, okay?
It's not only about the Jeep. This is about him stalking me, threatening me, and using you guys to intimidate me for no reason other than the fact that he is drunk and abusive.
Again, I don't know about all the history because I've never met either of you guys. Okay.
There's the police report.
I know that there are reports on file. I know that. I'm just telling you kind of how it is in front of me right now. Is that he's requesting his Jeep back, and the Jeep is only in his name. That's kind of all it is. And I understand that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, and I get that. But as it stands right now,
you already have like the police report in front of you.
I don't have the police report in front of me. And either way, even if I did, that doesn't change the fact that the Jeep is in his name and he wants it back.
I will get an order of protection in the morning, and
But you can't protect property that's in someone else's name, especially. Listen, Jessica. Jessica, I understand that. However, it is in his name. The title is in his name. And if the vehicle goes in as stolen, you're not going to be able to protect it. It's a stolen vehicle at that point. I'm trying to tell you this because I don't want to see something bad happen. Okay? I don't want to see you get charged with a felony for something like this. That's silly. Okay? Yes, it sounds like he pinged the Jeep, but again, it's his Jeep. So I don't know what the courts are going to say about that. However, if you have documentation on anything else, even that, just bring that. You said you're trying to get an order of protection in the morning. Bring all that with you. Talk to the judge about it and see what they say about it. Okay. Again,
I'll
tonight.
bring everything else, like him saying just the Jeep, all the payments I've made on the Jeep.
Yes, please do. Yes. Yes, because I know that at 2 or 3 in the morning, it's ridiculous to have this going on. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, the Jeep is in his name, and that's kind of where it's. I don't want to have to enter this as a stolen vehicle, because I know he even told me that he gave you permission, and he wants it back now. I can't tell him he can't have his own property back. Okay, but I can try to make things easier so that way, 1, it doesn't go in as stolen, 2, you're not charged with a felony for possessing a stolen Jeep, and then 3, we're not waking kids up, bringing them, driving them around town at 3 in the morning, just so he can have his Jeep back.
Okay, so I will bring the Jeep back at a regular time, so our children are not waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I will move forward with everything else, charges for stalking and domestic violence, and also the order of protection. Keep me safe from him.
Yes, definitely get that. If you feel like you need to get one, then please get one. But either him or myself or someone else should be giving you a call sometime tomorrow. Okay, and we'll try to wait as long till 8-ish as possible, just so you can get a couple more hours of sleep. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. You have a better night. Okay.
Hi, I appreciate it. I can come in if you
No, you cannot come in.
Okay. So he just wants his vehicle. So as long as you're cool with that, he'll just grab it and
I'm
get
not
out
cool
there.
with that. I was on my way to get an order of protection from him. I've already filed police reports with North for his domestic violence, and does he have to be like on my porch? Can he sit in his truck or something? Can you please just get away from me? I know you guys are here, but like,
would you mind just going over the
Hey, you want to? The only other thing that I want to point out, the sooner that you, whatever he wants, get it out of your life, the sooner you do that, the sooner he's
mutual
gone.
property for our children. Like, he has told me a million times in emails and everything that he will never take possession of it. I've paid for every payment.
So he's shown that it's in his name.
I know it's in his name.
So, like my partner was saying, though, it's best just
it's not.
Get rid of it. If that's what he wants, then get rid of it. That way he doesn't have an excuse to come back here. And if he does, then you can.
He's come here a million times. I have to get an order of protection today. Like, he is physically abusive. He's on drugs. He is crazy. Sorry, I'm like literally fucking shaking because he just.
Nothing's gonna stop you from getting an order of protection today.
I know, but in the order of protection, it can say like, this is mutual property for our children. Can it not?
Not a car.
No.
and they don't protect cars. So that's a whole nother.
You're going to open a whole other can of worms of civil issues.
Then we can go down that route. Do you have a warrant to search the property for the vehicle?
No, you said it was here, but that.
Yeah, and you agreed to it. So
I said I will be down. I didn't say that.
Once again, you're just gonna. If you don't do it today, it'll be next week or next month or 3 months from now. So that's what's my point is. You're just prolonging your own problems. Because he can get this thing out of here today, and he is on with his life. So you just don't want to do that. You don't want to move on.
I don't want to move on. I don't want to be left stranded with no vehicle that I've paid for when it is shared mutual property for our children that I transport everywhere that he doesn't take care of or pay for or see or.
So that would be something that would come up later in court.
I am trying to do that. And the first step is an order of protection.
Financial abuse is one of the hardest forms of domestic violence to overcome. In some of the more covert cases, you don't even know that you're being financially abused until it's too late. Here are some of the more overt ways that a victim can be financially abused, and then we'll get into the sneaky covert ways. Restricting access to money or withholding bank information. Forcing a victim to turn over their entire paycheck. Demanding to control how your income is spent. Forbidding the victim from working at all. Sabotaging the victim's employment by making them miss work or jeopardizing their job. Forcing them to work in the family business without proper compensation or compensation at all. Creating debt in the victim's name without their knowledge or consent. Forcing the victim to take on loans or debts and then controlling the repayment process. Forcing the victim to sign financial documents without understanding the consequences. And now, the covert ways. Monitoring or scrutinizing the victim's spending. Limiting the victim's access to financial information like account information or passwords. Controlling their access to transportation that helps them get to and from work. Denying them the ability to make independent financial decisions. Using guilt or emotional manipulation to coerce the victim into giving money or assets. Hiding or diverting money from joint accounts without the victim's knowledge. Sabotaging the victim's attempts to save money or build their own financial independence. Making the victim feel financially dependent. Using financial generosity as a means to control, like gift giving, but with strings attached. Or minimizing the victim's financial contributions or accomplishments. This is definitely not a comprehensive list. I was financially abused in so many of these ways. Abusers do this to maintain financial control so that you can't leave. The whole point is power and control. They want to keep you. Creditors and banks are notorious for their lack of compassion when it comes to these things. Regaining your financial independence is such a challenge. It can have severe and long-lasting effects on a victim's sense of well-being and security.
The thing that people don't realize about a woman who has a deadbeat baby daddy is that the abuse doesn't stop just because she's left him. In fact, in a lot of cases, it actually gets worse. There is something called post-separation abuse, and I feel like no one ever talks about it. How many of you are no longer with this man and still deal with verbal abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse? We are dealing with a narcissist who cares about two things only: playing the victim and making you look as bad as possible. On his priority list, his kids are at the way bottom. And yes, I know that deadbeat mothers exist too. You tell me on every single one of my videos. What I suggest is you make content about that subject matter and leave me to what I know best. To be clear, withholding child support is financial abuse. Saying vile things about the mother of your kids and lying about her to everyone around you is verbal and emotional abuse. Threatening her with the most ridiculous shit, psychological abuse. And neglecting and abandoning your family when they needed you the most is not only abusive to her, it's abusive to your kids. Mr. I care about my kids, but she won't let me see them. Get the fuck out of here. And still, by some ridiculous fucking chance, she's still called bitter. She's the bitter one, which is just another form of abuse that she continues to take, all while doing everything by herself. We need to get into reality. This shit is real. It's an epidemic worldwide. It needs to stop.
He comes after me every day differently, and I never thought he'd go to fucking CPS, but he did. He did. He'll fucking do anything to hurt me, even if he puts our kids in foster care. This is fucking traumatizing. He's not gonna fucking stop.
She's gonna go back. She's gonna go back and do what he wants in front of the kids. To the kids maybe next time. You just seen you didn't care about them, so you're gonna let them go back here and bring the kids into an environment where they can get hurt and beat? That's what you're gonna do? Because once he starts with you and they start slapping it back at him, he's gonna start with them.
I don't know what to do. Jay, I did everything. I left. I stayed in a hotel for 2 months. I bought a fucking house. I got an order of protection. I did everything.
You were by yourself then. You were by yourself then.
I don't think you.
I guarantee you're not gonna leave your side. I guarantee you that. He right now, what he did was, I hate to say it, it was good because he took the gloves off now. Now you're not so fucking iffy about it. Now you know what you're up against. Motherfucker don't give a fuck about no one but himself.
Trying to get me to wake the kids up at 2 a.m. to bring back the Jeep.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, he does this shit. Like, I was at the hotel, he's doing wellness checks at 3 a.m., keeping me tired and worn out.
They're gonna stop. They're gonna stop if you keep fucking doing this shit.
He's never gonna.
This is what we tell them now. You put the order protection, he called DCFS. These are actions that he's doing. Let's see, you're gonna pass the drug test. What does she say? Once she passes the drug test, she's gonna close it. After that, allegations can't
2 days later, it's open again.
Yeah, okay, she cannot make the allegations against you though. You can't keep doing this to someone. I know you're tired. I know
it's
you're tired.
11 months of this.
Okay. You know, you need some rest. You know, think better some rest. Go lay down in bed with Mindy. Let me take care of all this stuff, okay?
So, paperwork. Let me get my Lunchable ready. Hold on. Some of these nacho one slap. I'm starving. I skipped lunch. 4:30. Oh my god. I skipped lunch. I was just editing. I didn't even realize. Now I'm like dying. I'm starving. So I did challenge people to pull my paperwork. Never in a million years did I think that they would think it was okay to dox my family. So when I started seeing all this stuff come out, I'm like, hey, whoa, what the fuck? Can you not share my maiden name, which is my family's name? Can you not share my parents' fucking address and phone numbers? And of course that was just over flooded with, you said pull paperwork, now you want privacy? I didn't say dox my family, or my phone number, or Jason's phone number, or, wait, did they share my phone number? No, sorry, they shared Jason's phone number. That is not okay. So like, yeah, I was complaining about it online because you were doxing my family home that's been on my family 100 years. It's not accurate. 20 years. Okay, whatever. There was a reason why I never shared my maiden name. There was a reason why I never shared Joe's real name, which was shared all over the internet. And he is who we call Steve on this app. I have always called my ex-husband Steve. His name is not Steve, but I did that for privacy. And now I'm just at the point where it's like, you know what? Predators don't really deserve privacy. Okay, so let's start with my New York paperwork, and anything with me as a minor should never have been shown. So I'm not really gonna go over like a ton of fucking details with this. The weird thing is there's like a little like print off of like my history, and that's like the only thing that I can find really on everything that happened when I was a teenager, which I've been very clear about online that like I was a shitty teenager. You know, I was not great. But on 3/27 of 2006, so I'm a child. How old was I? In March of 06? 15? But in March of 06, it says opened PINS diversion case, preventative unit supervising. So this is just notes. This is just like little like case file notes, like criminal history notes. There's obviously a lot of shit in between these little notes. So that's what kind of makes it a pain in the ass to get. So on 7/20/06, forwarded intervention recommendation is probation. So that was like what they're recommending. September of 06, I was put in the youthful offender program, and it says on the charge of endangering the welfare of a child, but I cannot be, I'm not endangering myself. I'm almost wondering if that is like, did they plead down criminal sales to that as a, how could they legally do that though? See, I really don't remember that. I know what the fuck happened because I was there. This is what makes it hard because I obviously was in active addiction. I don't know. I wouldn't think that they could plead down criminal sales of a controlled substance, which is what I was charged with. I sold pills to a kid that I went to high school with. So I went on the run a couple of different times. It says received transfer back from Otsego County, residing in Delaware County at 44 Pleasant Street. It is okay that that address is shown because it's abandoned, and I showed you guys that, what's it called? I showed you guys that house in my hometown tour video. Hey guys, so I have to pop in here and just say that I'm not going to be sharing the pages of my juvenile record or any police report involving me as a child because that should have never been released. So I'm not going to re-release it except for a couple of little things that I'm going to crop and put on the screen. But I have been gaslit for months about not serving any time in New York, and that is just not true.
I did get an email from them with a letter on a letterhead, all of the fun stuff, and a signature that says there is no records for this person, period. She's never been on supervision. She's never been on parole, probation, none of that shit. She's never spent a day in a facility in New York.
So I'm going to put in a couple of things, but for the most part, all of the police reports involving me as a child, my sibling as a child, all of that stuff, my parents' domestic situations, that doesn't need to be talked about. And I do think that it is a massive invasion of privacy to share police records of me as a child and to share juvenile records that should have never seen the light of day. It is not easy to be gaslit about your own life story and to be told in 1,000 comments and multiple videos that I've never served a day in any kind of jail or any facility in New York. That is ridiculous and just exhausting. But I'm going to share a couple of different things that prove that I did do time in New York. I don't have the complete record because the only thing that I have is oddly me as a child, 16 and 17, and then me at 20 doing a 6-month violation. So I don't know where the other paperwork is. Hopefully it's sealed for real, but I am looking into this with my attorneys because none of that should have seen the light of day. That was the whole point behind the youthful offender program, is that the records are automatically sealed at the end of that sentence. Mistakes like this with paperwork happen all of the time. You know, in my domestic violence case, the order of protection was not entered correctly when we went back to court in April, and I'll show you guys that in the next episode. And then it says received an arrest warrant. There's mad shit missing here. March is not a good month for me. March is not a good, historically speaking. March 24th, 2009, they put a arrest warrant out on me. I went on the run on the magazine crew, and on August 6th of 2009, I was arrested. On August 18th, 2009, probation revoked and pre-sentenced to 165 days incarceration. Filed 2009 discharge. So what that means is I had a warrant issued because I violated my probation. Oh, I was sentenced to 3 years probation. In the state of New York, when you are a youthful offender, say you get arrested at 16, but you do the violations at 19, like me, that is still the youthful offender program, and that is still sealed. And I really don't understand it, but I'm wondering if, because this was served at, like I served this time when I was 19 years old, I'm wondering, or was I 20? Okay, I was 20, or almost 20 when I served this violation of the 6 months, and that killed my paper. I wonder if it was just a mistake. I really do wonder if it was just an honest mistake, because in the youthful offender program, even if you, like say you get arrested at 16 and then you get probation for however many years, you go on the run and you come back and you're serving the violations as an adult, that is still the youthful offender program. And in that means when you're done with all that shit, your record is sealed. That's like that's the deal. That's the whole thing. That's why you want to get it. So I'm wondering if they reduced criminal sales to, it doesn't seem legal, but I'm wondering if they reduced criminal sales to endangering the welfare of a child just so I could get into this program, which is just the weirdest thing. I don't know what that is or how that even happened. But yeah, even though I served the violations as an adult, it should not be accessible to the public. Like the one when I was 18 and 19, that's not on this sheet. So I'm wondering if, like, because I was 20, it's there. And that doesn't make any sense either because I'm clearly a fucking minor in 2006. I don't know.
So if that was her selling that kid drugs, she was on probation and then for 3 years in 09 of 06. Okay, wait a minute. So September 19th of 06, she was put on 3 years of probation. Okay, wait, 3 years of probation, September 19th of 06. And then in March of 09, 2.5, almost 3 years later, she violates her probation. She gets picked up August 18th of 09, 1 month shy of her 3 years. So she had a 2009, her probation would have been discharged September 19th of 09. She got picked up 8/18 of 09, 1 month before she got off of that probation.
In 2009, what the fuck do I do? September 2nd. Oh, and just to be clear, when you go to court, they kind of bundle everything together. So they'll sentence you to your violation time, and on the day that you're in court, if you're going to jail, that's the same day that your probation is terminated. Because if it's not terminated at the sentencing thing for the violation, then you'll have to go back to court. So they do it all at the same time. The day that I was sentenced to the 165-day violation is the same day the court terminated my probation in lieu of jail time. I was arrested August 6, 2009 for an arrest warrant for violating probation. Jessica was assigned to Walton Village Court and remanded without bail because she runs. I mean, most states don't let you get out on bail. I have not seen a lot of this shit. 2006, again, I am a child. This is in February. My dad and my stepmom reported that I was missing, and I was hanging out with Joe Kent, who was 21 years old. February of 2006, I am 15, right? Because I turned 16 in September. I'm 15, he's 21. Or I'm 16, he's 21. I'm bad at math. The sergeant checked the residence and believes that the female was there. However, Kent would not let him in. My parents called reporting that she believes that Jessica is still in Walton with Kent. She bases her belief on the fact that Jessica calls her either using her cell phone or calling card and made a statement to the effect of, if they did anything to Joe, she would make their lives a living hell. That just literally shows you, like, he was a fucking predator. And, like, I was, like, protecting the predator. And I know that that seems harsh, maybe, to some people in my hometown. He was a fucking grown-ass man dating me, a child. I was a child. I was 15 and he was 20 when we first met. That she didn't really have anything to lose going to the Walton PD and seeing if they could press charges against Kent for endangering the welfare of a child. I gave her the phone number to the Walton PD. Received information from Janet that her daughter and me just left the home. Her daughter, Janet, and Jessica had just left the home when Mary would not allow Jessica to stay there. She said that they were on foot and provided a couple of addresses where they thought she might be headed. Located the pair on Bird Ave and returned them home. Backs up some other stories, but I'm not trying to be petty. This is just like my manuscript. This is my whole life story. These drama channels are really just proving my life story and they don't even realize it. Dispute at incident location. Writer and respondent interviewed Jim, my dad, who stated that he and his daughter got in a verbal altercation over the fact that Jessica wanted to move in with one of her teachers, the art teacher. I love y'all. They tried to help too. During their heated argument, Jim told Jessica that he wanted her cell phone because it is in his name. Jessica's refusal prompted a call to the police. Jim advised Ryder and 703 that Jessica is currently on probation. Come on, Dad. No, that's the least of... I was horrible. Guys, if you're watching, I love you and I'm sorry I was such a shit teenager. I hope I've made up for that in my adult life. Can I just say here that, like, it takes a lot to change everything about yourself. Like, it was so hard to move my life in a positive direction, and I feel like that is really all that matters. When I started this channel, I always said, like, I didn't want my emotional discovery. I don't need it. I've never seen it. Not like this. And let me just clarify on that as well, because I think over the years it's got kind of misconstrued. My lawyer got the motion of discovery that is standard for any criminal case. So the lawyer and the prosecuting attorney will file a motion for discovery. You can file an independent one and you can get a motion of discovery, or sometimes your lawyer will just give it to you. I didn't have a copy of it. I didn't see it physically. I didn't go over it like this because I knew that I would be able to somehow figure out who the buy was from, and I don't know, it's just, I didn't need to know that. I also didn't need to know the other two people in this. So anyway, I never had a physical copy of my motion of discovery. Does that mean I don't know what was in it completely? No, because my attorney got it and went over some things with me, and I, tried to fight it as long as I could, and I sat in jail for, like, I don't know, 6 months or something, like fighting the case, with the exception of the couple of weeks that I bonded out of jail. Exposure time is very difficult to explain. That's why I've messed it up my entire internet career. The defendant is sentenced to the Arkansas Department of Corrections for 5 years with an additional suspended time of 15 years. At the bottom of this paper, it says the violation of any of these terms and conditions can result in you being sentenced to imprisonment in the Department of Corrections for a term of no more than 40 years and or found guilty of contempt of court and subject to punishment as ordered by the court. That is exposure time. And that's difficult to explain. It doesn't say the word exposure time, so when people get a hold of this and they don't know what the hell they're talking about, they're gonna be like, 40 years exposure doesn't exist. It does. It does exist. It's just worded differently, you know? Kind of like me saying I beat the robbery charges. And then someone got on the internet and said, you didn't beat the charges, they were dismissed. That's the same fucking thing. It makes me so crazy. It makes me so freaking crazy. So then on this guilty plea, it says 5 years ADC with an additional 15 suspended, credit for time served. See how it doesn't say exposure time in that one, or it doesn't say the 40 years or whatever? It's because every page is kind of different, which is why every page is important when you're going over this stuff. This is a paper saying that they suspended my driver's license, which is fucked up, dude. That's ridiculous. It says I shall be granted a restricted driving permit for the purpose of going to employment, scheduled sessions, of meetings and receive treatment, counseling, education related to abuse of addiction, and any substance and controlled substance. That's stupid. Stop suspending people's driver's licenses because they are addicts that go to prison. Taking away someone's driver's license, like because they're an addict, is like literally further just adding to the obstacle of getting your life back together, and like it just further disconnects them from life and society and getting their life back on track. So when you are charged with a bunch of things and you're trying to work out a plea, they give you a couple of different options, and I fought it as long as I could. So this is another paper saying that I get credit for time served in jail, that I was sentenced to 5 years, 15 suspended imposition of sentence on each felony. So who even knows how much suspended time I have? I don't know. Every single page is just so different. This says I was found guilty of possession with purpose to deliver and delivery of meth. The gun was like null process, which means it still shows there, and that's kind of where the 40 years exposure comes from. It's always going to show on my jacket. It's always going to show on my paperwork that I had a gun. And that is a violent charge, like just possession of it is a violent charge. What is this one? Oh, I was like desperate to get into drug court, so I wrote a couple of different times. Like, please just give a bitch a break. What I think is like really crazy, and I've told this story on my channel before, I wrote a letter to the person for drug court trying to get drug court, right? I also wrote a letter to the judge, and my lawyer decided that it would be like a good idea to defend me by rewording what I said. The copies of the letters are like so fucking hard to read. Like this one's from Miss Page, but my lawyer literally took what I said and like changed it, and sure, do that to like make it sound better, not make it sound worse. So my lawyer's defense, like what he was going to court with to defend me on my behalf, was to say that I like used my feminine charm to buy drugs and like it was all this guy's fault that I was dating. I didn't fucking say this. Didn't fucking say that. Okay, November 3rd, 2011, the public defender office gets the case. On the 26th day of October, the court appointed public defender, that dude. The defendant is charged with possession with purpose to deliver, possession of firearms, delivery of meth. The defendant does not have a court date. That's fucking ridiculous. Order to appoint counsel. It's just an order to get me in. There are other names listed on that paper, and I'm not even going to go over that because that's not my place. So this is my lawyer requesting the motion of discovery, and they do that in every single criminal case. The lawyer gets one, the prosecuting office gets one, but I did not fill out a motion for the discovery until the internet decided to take a fucking hard, violent turn. It's just a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork. There's one in here that people just are not reading correctly, and they said that I was a CI. The thing is, I can't be my own CI. And a CI is a confidential informant. So there was a controlled buy made from me and my co-defendant. And now that I see that address, I specifically remember that, especially when I look it up on Google Maps. But it's this freaking ridiculous ass thing with like these little triangles. This is just the prosecutor notes, and it's saying that there was a CI in my case. I can't be my own confidential informant because I can't sell drugs to myself and my co-defendant and put us in prison. Ugh.
Said I wouldn't make any more Jessica Kent videos unless something big popped up. So this must be big So, Jessica, if you weren't a CI or a snitch, why are you leaving the jail to go testify? Just a question. I'm just asking. I think that's odd. I'm going to move. You guys pause to read.
783-4988.
Oh shit, I was just going up. Okay, wait.
479.
479.
783.
783.
4988.
I don't have a very good southern accent. They'll spot it. Just talk regular.
You have reached the Sebastian County Detention
Are you
Center.
recording?
Our physical address is 801 South 8th Street, Fort Smith, Arkansas 72901. For information regarding court services and other agencies, press 1. Visitation procedures, press 2. Changes in bonding information for a particular inmate, press 3. Incoming mail procedures, press 4.
Officer.
Online service.
Sebastian County.
Hi, I have a very random question for you. When an inmate goes from ADC back to county, like for court for any reason, how are they booked in? Like what is that labeled under?
Labeled as return for court or return to testify.
Okay, so that doesn't necessarily mean that they're like testifying in court. It's just like for any reason to go back to county jail as a state inmate. That's just like the standard thing that as it's coded or worded or whatever.
Just a second.
Sure.
Yep. It is.
They're trying to say I went back for a stolen air conditioner or something. I'm like, who stole an air conditioner?
I'd say, damn, he was really doing the Arkansas thing.
Copper wire. I was copper wire. I was,
Coils and shit. They're running your number right now. Your phone number.
So this chick is trying to see if someone's snitching.
Ma'am.
Yes.
I'm sorry, it got really loud in here.
That's okay.
What were you saying?
I just needed to know when a ADC state inmate returns back to county jail for court for any reason, how do you guys label and code that on the book and sheet?
Okay, like if they're coming back for court, it will be returned to testify. What would be another reason that they come back?
Right, and I wanted to know like how that's labeled. So this is the real question. I was there in 2011. I came back in 2012, and I'm trying to find the paper because I filed a motion to get some money back from me that was taken during my arrest, and I was transferred from Wrightsville to Sebastian County. And when I was in there, the book and sheet, which I pulled from FOIA, says return to testify. And I'm like, well, I didn't testify. I just filed the motion for that money.
Oh, okay. Did you go to court?
I actually didn't end up in court. Someone came and brought me a paper to sign for it. They just kind of deferred it to me.
Okay. Yeah, it would be the same thing. Like if you have any type of hearing or anything that's going on through the courts that's within the county and you have to be seen or you have to appear or someone has to see you, then the county has to go get you and bring you here so that you can appear or sign or be seen or whatever it is. And in our system, it's all labeled under the same thing. It's just a blanket term, return to testify.
But who the fuck stole an air conditioner? I need to find John's AC unit. I feel so bad for him.
So this must be...
So I've seen this shit popping up all over Reddit, TikTok, YouTube, this paperwork suggesting that she's allegedly a CI. And let me tell you why this paperwork doesn't prove anything of the sort. Now, what you see behind me are some of the rules set out by the Department of Justice or the DOJ in terms of police agencies and the FBI using confidential informants. And the big thing about confidential informants is that, as a general rule, they won't testify in court. Usually what happens is the police agency will pull the charges. They will stop the process from continuing in order to protect the identity of the CI. Now, there are cases where CIs do have to identify themselves, and sometimes it does happen in court. And in order for a CI to be outed like that, to actually have to testify at trial, there is going to be a mountain of paperwork and probably a couple hearings that occur in order for that to happen. And so if she was forced to testify and reveal her identity, where is that paperwork? Nobody's seen it. Nobody has it. Where is that paperwork? That's what would prove it. Actually, what would tell you exactly where the bear shit and the buckwheat in this is if you had the court transcripts. All this paperwork really proves is that she went to court for some reason. It could have been a first appearance. It could have been, for disclosure. It could have just been to address the way forward if there's been any changes or if she has a lawyer, shit like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that she was testifying at somebody's trial as an informant. And in my humble opinion, as somebody who's worked narcotics, plainclothed, handled CIs, co-handled CIs, signed up CIs, I don't see enough evidence here to conclude that they are a CI. This is essentially a nothing burger, what you're talking about. You need to dig deeper if that's what you're going to do, because this shit doesn't mean a thing. Try harder next time. This is some weak tea.
In the rush to get paperwork, they saw that and they were like, oh my God, we've cracked the case. She's a CI. There's no way in hell you would ever see a piece of paper with the confidential informant's name on it, because in order to find that out, the confidential informant has to go to trial, and most of these cases plead out. Like, most of us take a plea agreement because we don't want to go to trial, because if we go to trial, we're probably going to lose. And not for nothing, but if everyone decided, hey, I'm going to go to trial, the whole system would be fucked up because they don't have the time and the man hours to go to trial. We almost always take plea agreements. I think where people are getting the 300 days is they're going on when I was sentenced. That's when they're going on, or they're going on some random date that I got to McPherson and then Wrightsville, but I was already in custody. I had to sit in jail for fucking 6 months before I even got there. They tried to get me out on bail on the 24th. I had to turn right back around. But on the 27th of February 2012, I was actually bonded out. And that is when I was able to go to court and see someone open testify in court. It was federal court, and that person had a 5K1, which means that you're openly telling on people that they already knew about, that they were investigating, and you're helping them close up that shit in exchange for time off. Now there's another thing in the feds where it's called a Rule 35. That means that you told on people that the government did not know about, that the feds were not investigating. And that happens all the time too, where people get arrested, they get scared, and they're like, hey, I'll give you all these people. You don't know about them and you're not investigating them, but I'll give you all these people. That's called a Rule 35. I know I've said in different videos and different interviews, there's one with Montel, I had COVID, I was fucking exhausted, that I served 2.5 years. Well, that's my sentence. I was sentenced to 5 years. They told me I had to serve half of it. And I just didn't want to explain it anymore because it's so hard to explain. I can't even explain the difference between parole and probation. I'm it's the same shit. But you go to jail and then you go to prison, you can get out on parole, but if you're in the feds and you get released, that's called probation. It's just the same shit. So I have a hard enough time explaining that. I don't know. The point I'm trying to make here is I shouldn't have to defend my story and prove things and show receipts. I just had to do that with my ex and prove that what I knew to be true actually happened. Prove that he did X, Y, and Z. I had to come with physical evidence. And then when I came with physical evidence, I was still gaslit over it. This feels exactly the fucking same. And that's the entire point of this. I wish you guys realized how ridiculous this is to me right now. And, how cruel and unnecessary this feels. This is a smear campaign. This is a very successful smear campaign. And I'm grateful that it's happening to me and not somebody else, because I know how my mental health is. And I know that when I'm feeling strong, I know that I can use my story and what is happening to me to help other people. It's kind of like my little superpower. So if you like watching my content, great. If you don't, fuck right off. Because I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore if you like me or not. I don't care about what is politically correct. I don't care about having to pick and choose the right words to say. I'm not going to do that anymore. If you don't like me, don't watch me. If you like me, that's awesome, and I appreciate you, and that's really where I stand with that. I got too caught up on trying to be perfect for everyone. I got too caught up with these expectations of like, you're the face of this community and the face of that community, and that's where I started to say, my brand is not recovery or mental health or prison, my brand is transparency. That was stupid to say, because now people are like, oh, really? We need to know every single thing about you. I'm being dramatic. I can be transparent and also assert boundaries at the same time. I can be transparent and still choose to keep things private. And for this to all come out on the internet like this, immediately after I leave my ex, it feels unnecessarily cruel. Just rapid fire some of the things that Tracy was wrong about. She said 40 years exposure does not exist. She said I never served a day in prison, jail, any kind of facility in New York, and that I wasn't on probation in New York. She said that I was only separated from Micah for 8 months. That's not true. Micah was born on June 12th, 2012. I didn't get custody back of her for a long time. We were separated for a long time. She said that 5 or 6 people said that I conspired to commit robbery in New York. That's also not true. Only one person said that I planned the entire thing. She keeps saying she shares everything when we know that's also not true, because she's not sharing the police reports that show my ex being abusive. She said that I don't have any sealed records. She said I went back to court for theft, not getting my money back. I never stole a fucking air conditioner. That doesn't even make sense. It was kind of spread around, and this wasn't just Tracy that spread this around, but she said that Jason was a snitch because he was out doing illegal activities and getting away with it. But the reality of that is he had a surrender date. He did not surrender until he self-surrendered, kinda, in my driveway. Self-surrender dates are very common, and that does not make Jason a snitch. A lot of people were saying that I'm a snitch because I had returned to testify on a booking sheet. Tracy said that I lied about my entire birth story. She even questioned me being an addict. Not okay. What's even more terrible about that is she's looking at these police reports where I have literal needles and drugs, and she's saying, did she even have an addiction? It's just unnecessary. She said I was a CI and then apologized for saying I was a CI, which also felt manipulative, but the damage is already done. The whole internet's like, oh, you're a CI. No, I was not. I can't sell drugs to myself unless I unlock a new way to commit crimes. Okay, it's kind of funny. She mentions Amber Heard and compares me to her in several live streams that I have screen recorded, and then never shares my domestic violence police reports. Just the ones where I can look potentially shitty. This goes on and on and on in every single video that other people have picked up and said over and over again. And what's really awful is, like Tracy said a few times, if you can prove me wrong with evidence, then I will say I'm wrong. Girl, no you won't. I've tried to reason with you a million times. She says Wrightsville doesn't even have fences or people that have life without capital murder or chomos because it's a minimum level facility, when you know damn well it's minimum and medium and there are fences. You say that a grievance that I made while I was in county jail seems really silly, but the grievance that you're sharing is the officer shackled me so tight that I had fucking bruises on my ankles. Nicole from Discovering Nicole or Real Talk Recovery or Accountability or whatever she goes by, she has a lot of different pages. She has continued to say that I had her channel deleted when she knows damn well that that's not true.
I've been hearing a bunch of conflicting information from Discovering Nicole, and I would really like to clear that up. I'm a little bit confused, so let's dive into it. April 1st, 2023, Ashy Cat was being trolled and bullied. Numerous people made videos defending Miss Ashy Cat, and her trolls went after everybody sticking up for her, as why I have a video removed. They literally removed that video the second Ashy Cat duetted it. So Discovering Nicole made a video to stick up for Miss Ashy Cat, and then her whole account got taken down. It was literally a few days after my video got taken down, Nicole's whole YouTube account went down. Then on April 16th, 2023, Nicole is over here saying that her YouTube's banned and it's because of Miss Ashy Cat's trolls, blah, blah, blah. So that situation doesn't even have anything to do with Jessica Kent. So this was after she appealed it and YouTube was like, no. So I tried to reason with Nicole because I didn't know really what was going on, and when all the drama started, like, I messaged her. It was like, hey, yo, you might want to chill out. I don't really know what's going on. And then she busts out with, well, Jessica Kent got my account banned. So first she told me it was Ashy Cat, and now all of a sudden it's Jessica Kent. So now I'm like, Also, it wasn't Jessica Kent that got your videos removed. That had to do with Ashy Cat. and you were upset about Jessica, and Mindy was able to convince you it was Jessica. So I'm like, okay, it was Ashley Cat, now it's Jessica Kent. That's kind of sus. Yes, it was. I have the appeal information from YouTube. Now let me explain how YouTube and the reporting process goes, Nicole. Reporting is all anonymous. YouTube is not going to tell you who reported your account when they're about to take your whole account, when they reported you anonymously. But for shits and giggles, let's say, you know, YouTube did tell you who reported your videos. We all know with how much evidence you and Mindy have been showing. If you guys ever had a gotcha moment, that would have been it. But we all know YouTube didn't come back and say that it was Jessica Kent and her people. Because we all know if YouTube would have came back and said that it was Jessica Kent that reported you, you guys would have posted it all over the internet already, and I've seen nothing about it. Because I don't want to be the one to break this to you, but the appeal process for YouTube and Mindy, they're not like the same people. Mindy has you brainwashed, Nicole, and I really hope you get it together because this is ridiculous. You're not gonna just change how things happen to fit your scenario. That
Mindy said that I told on this girl's brother in New York when they're looking at the same police report, and Anthony told on himself and my cousin and my ex, and I was questioned a bunch of times and I said, okay, he's saying he did it. Let me see the statement. Yeah, he did what he said he did. I didn't do any of that shit. This has been a very successful smear campaign, but when I have to tally it up in my mind of who's lying and who's not lying and who's transparent and who's not transparent, it kind of looks like other people are lying, and I know why they're doing it. Nicole's doing it just out of blind hatred. Mindy came here working for my ex, and she probably still gets paid by him. I can't prove that. The last receipt that I have of her getting paid from my ex was like in February or March, I think. I think some creators started to talk about me and the drama and everything else with good intentions, you know? And then because this can get very consuming, especially when it comes to negativity and drama and gossip, I think some people have kind of let that affect them in a really negative way. And because of that, they've been kind of shitty. And I'm not going to say who I think that is, but I want to end this video because I am kind of tired, and I know that I was super annoyed in this video, but at the end of the day, I'm a person, and a person can only take so much. This smear campaign being played out on a very public stage is the perfect example of how we don't fucking listen to victims of domestic violence, how we unintentionally victim blame them, and how we allow certain people to manipulate our opinions about situations that they don't understand. It's like a game of telephone or some shit. I don't know. Okay, I want to end this video by saying I have a mountain of evidence that I was being stalked, harassed, abused, physically, emotionally, financially, and the system failed to protect me, and the cops tried. You guys will see them try. All right, I'm gonna end episode 1 here. Episode 2 will be out in the next couple of days. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah, I'm not really sure who to ask about this, but I had a domestic violence case, and my abuser was charged with assault, and his attorney told my attorney that he pled guilty to that, but I wasn't notified, so I was just wondering if I was supposed to be notified.
You've reached King County State's Attorney Jamie Monster's office. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Please leave a message and we'll get back to you.
If you're struggling in active addiction, I'm a partner with Groups Recover Together. They are both online and in-person treatment program. They're 420 friendly. They believe in harm reduction. They believe in helping rebuild your life holistically, not just by giving you some medication. They believe in, yes, medication helps, but removing the substance and getting, you know, the right treatment, that's step 1. But coming out of active addiction doesn't just magically make everything easy. Life is still really fucking hard. And Groups is incredible at helping you find housing or clothing, get your driver's license. You have group therapy sessions every single week. They're an incredible team of people. Groups is always linked in the description box down below. I'm gonna end today's video here. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay in recovery, whatever that looks like to you, because there's no wrong way to recover. And I'll see y'all in my next one.